could Voldemort be Petunia and Lily's father? Yeah, maybe. But that whole connection thing just still feels
Their
weird.
Father.
Well, age-wise, that's the
Who's
only thing that would
touching
make
him?
sense.
Ew.
You were the one who said he was hot. So don't
This
even.
is true.
Jen, last movie, Voldemort was kind of
Good looking.
good looking.
And this is coming from a Hermione. So, like, let alone those who lean evil.
Wait, what?
Because you guys are Hermione's,
Oh.
But like, think of all the
rule
evil people
following
out there in the world.
and crazy
Think about
hair, I guess.
Mrs. Malfoy.
Yeah.
The that woman who was going to Azkaban, like yelling in the trial. These are people who'd be totally down with some Voldemort.
One-on-one time.
Yeah.
Oh my
boy.
goodness.
Anyways, I'm just trying to think of how there could be a connection that goes deeper with Voldemort and the Potters, but there's not enough to come up with anything substantial.
I know there has to be
But there
something.
is a
that he
connection,
was, like,
and that's why I think it's
chasing them.
two-way.
Okay, I have a few introductory questions for you guys. But mainly, I want to know how you guys like these first 3 chapters.
I did like it. It got to the action really quickly, which was great. And I can already tell that she's writing details, getting like into the thick of it. So I'm going to really enjoy this book for sure.
I heard this the other day. I don't know if I told you guys this too. I heard this the other day that she's not a good world builder. And this is the book where she starts building the world out a lot more. And I actually kind of agree with that. I don't think she's a great world builder. I think she's a great storyteller. Like there are people who build worlds,
Yep.
like the author of Dune. I tried to read that, and I can't do it. It's not a good story. I think at least it's the most incredible world building I've ever seen in my life. And I have someone who read all of them who's telling me about it, and it's the best world building I've probably ever even heard about. But I'm like, the storytelling is really bad. I feel like J.K. Rowling is a good storyteller, maybe not a great world builder, but in this book, I think she builds the world out really, really well. So we'll see. Jen, how did you like the beginning of this book?
I thought it was decent. It wasn't like the previous book, though. That one was just like dropping a lot of information that you could like try to guess where characters were coming from. It was entertaining enough, I guess.
Do you guys know what the Order of the Phoenix is now?
Now, kind of. But still not really. But I know that I was wrong about what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Because it's a group of people. An organization.
In the 30 theories that you threw,
One of them was
in
right.
there.
But it wasn't like the top of my mind.
Yeah.
But we don't know anything more. All we know is that it exists and it has a physical location in London. And it seems to be like a group of people that are loyal to Harry or Dumbledore or against the Ministry. We still don't really know, but like some kind of rebellion crew. But they've been around a while. So I don't know.
So
Who
I
started
was
this
kinda
thing? Yeah, maybe. I don't remember. Is that your theory?
I feel like Jen always just throws it in at random points. I was right about that. All right.
Because I was.
Pretty much were about half the stuff.
Because that's my competitive side. I have to use it somewhere.
Okay.
I liked your theory better. I like the order of like the power of the feather from Fox the Phoenix.
Well, it also still could be something like that. Like, why did they call themselves the Order of the Phoenix?
Yeah.
Is this all about Fox? Is this before Fox? How many other Phoenixes are there out there? And who started this thing?
But
In
what
my
if-
head, it was the Marauders that started this because of the whole map thing. Just feels like it'd be like right in line with like, let's start a secret organization that can fight for
I
good.
feel like it would have to be older than them.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I would love for it to be older. I'm just not so convinced, but it could
I
be.
think, well, I was also wondering, like, what are characteristics of a phoenix, right? Was it like bravery or like they heal? They put, what else was there? Like, what do they do, phoenixes? Because then that is probably why they named it the Order of the Phoenix. Like, they're going out against they're brave and they're going to heal the land.
Or maybe it's about the nature of the organization, that it rises from the ashes of itself
Right.
when it's needed, and then sometimes it disbands when it's no longer needed. And maybe after Voldemort fell, it disbanded. And now, like a phoenix, it is coming back together to rise again. The Order is reassembling to fight
like
Voldemort
that.
again. Maybe.
To start us off, also, we just talked about this because Jen gave her spelling, but who do you think sent the note, remember my last, and what do you think it actually means? Give me your leading theories.
Maybe it's their mother, Lily and Petunia's mother.
What would it mean in that case?
Is Petunia? I don't know who's older, Lily or Petunia. Do we know that?
I don't think we know that yet.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if Petunia's older and Lily was younger, and it's just remember my last. Like you're supposed to take care of your younger sister
Right.
while I'm gone or I passed away. But then when I thought it was Trelawney, I was thinking that Petunia maybe is a squib or something and like did go to Hogwarts and had Professor Trelawney. And it was some kind of bigger, was it premonition or whatever for the, like how she sees.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something larger, and that was just a line from that potential future horrible thing that was going to happen.
Dang. Okay. Involved.
so-
I like that.
And so, yeah, remember my last Petunia. So, because she was so drastically changing her mind. Like, nope, we have to keep Harry.
There's a lot of jaw-dropping moments in these chapters too. When Petunia knows that what Dementors are, and she says
Yeah.
that, you're like, what?
Wait a second.
Right, because we had a discussion, like, were Lily's parent, like, was the family, were they muggles or were they witches and wizards?
Yeah, we still don't really know, but we got more hints in these chapters about Lily being a muggle. So
Lily being a muggle, I didn't get those.
I forget, when we're going through the specifics, we might get to it. But I thought this was Lily, and I thought it was Lily's like dying wish. Like maybe before Lily went into hiding with the Fidelius, she was like, hey, Petunia, I don't ask for much, but if the worst should happen, take care of Harry. Only because of the timing of when it came, it was like they were about to kick Harry out, right? And then the Howler arrives, and then all of a sudden they're not. Then Petunia's like, he can stay.
Yeah.
So whatever this vibe is saying,
Wait,
protect Harry, I guess, or I don't know, maybe.
the only thing is a howler has to be from someone that's alive, right? So now
Does it?
I think so.
Maybe Lily's had an owl this whole time that's just been flying circles around, holding a howler, waiting for this moment.
It's like a drone. It's been circling the house
Yeah.
for years, for
Circling.
13, 14, 15 years, right? Or 16 years right now.
Well, we haven't seen a howler come from someone dead before.
No, it's
Yeah.
true. And that's the weird
And I feel
part
like
about
they
this.
record themselves. So now I'm thinking it can't be anyone dead.
Interesting.
Which is why Trelawney sticks better now.
I also thought for a second that it was like, remember my last message, my last letter. If it was someone who's alive who like already has been in communication with Petunia. But it feels like Petunia wants to keep this part of her life a secret, especially from Uncle Vern. So it's weird for her to now be doing this in front of other people.
Wait, but if it was remember my last like communication or letter, who was the last person who,
Well, yeah,
who
and
sent it?
That's what I'm thinking. Like it would have to be, in that case, probably someone alive, or maybe again it was a Lily thing where Lily had owls lined up and said like, "Hey, if I don't return, something happens to me, send this letter." I feel like that wouldn't be that hard to do, even if you write a howler and give it to someone else, to Dumbledore, and say, "Hey, Dumbledore, this is, as a backup in case the worst should happen. These are my wishes. Send this over to Petunia, let them know, blah, blah, blah.
Well, we'll talk about this more in a bit. But welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
Jenn.
Danny.
And Kristen.
And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Sometimes I think I need to create testimonials for our subreddit. We just had someone go on this week, actually, and say they're on the episode that I gave a pitch for our subreddit, and they're like, oh, I would never use subreddit. Come on. We have people specifically going on our subreddit who have never had Reddit accounts before, and they're just going on because they want to be part of this community. So please go join our subreddit, r/First Time Readers. Go subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to be part of the YouTube live discussions when we live stream this podcast. We have a lot of stuff going on. If you want bookmarks, if you want stickers, email me at firsttimereaders@gmail.com. I'll get those to you free of charge. I mean, what's better than that? But we are on Order of the Phoenix. It is so fun. This discussion just keeps getting better and better. And join our little community because we are growing faster and faster every day. And we are finding this community is the absolute best. So thank you so much for listening and enjoy as we start our Order of the Phoenix book review with the First Time Readers. Okay, let's start chapter 1 of Order of the Phoenix. Dudley Demented. Great
chapter title.
Give me a summary of this chapter.
Well, it's the intro chapter. Dudley is a bully and a boxer, apparently. Harry is getting really bored
noble
and
sport.
antsy. Yeah, the noble sport. And then at some point, Dementors attack Harry and Dudley after they were kind of getting in a little bit of a brawl. Not quite a brawl, but tension was rising. And then all of a sudden, after the Dementors, Mrs. Fig comes out of nowhere. Dudley can hardly speak. And it's just a weird moment of Dementors showing up, and Harry fends them off and is surprised about Mrs. Fig and starts putting some of the weird pieces together.
Your Mundungus Fletcher came back.
Yeah, Mundungus. Although, man, he's off on a bad start. But I still kind of like him. But
I laughed out loud at the last, or whenever it was, where Mrs. Fig was like, I'm going to kill
Yeah,
Mundungus
right.
Fletcher.
And I'm like, I
Danny,
like this guy already. But as
I
soon
was
as it
thinking
said,
the
like,
same thing.
she said something about cauldrons that fell off the back of a wagon, I'm like, he's a thief now? Oh, goodness. So I do like this guy, but it's just funny.
So Mundungus Fletcher was in the previous book as a quick mention. Did you notice that Arabella Fig was mentioned in the previous book?
Yes.
Did you connect that it was this Miss Fig?
Yes.
So you previously did that in the Goblet of Fire?
Oh, wait. What do you mean in the Goblet of Fire?
So in the Goblet of Fire, Arabella Fig is mentioned.
Oh,
Dumbledore says, go notify 3 people.
Yes.
I forgot who the first one was.
I forgot about
Arabella Fig and Mundungus Fletcher. And you were like, oh, this Mundungus Fletcher guy. Mm-hmm. And you skipped over Arabella
Yeah, you're
Fig.
right. No, I forgot that she was mentioned or I missed it.
Yeah.
But when it came up here, like, I only was connecting it to the first book.
Yeah.
Like Mrs. Fig with her cats and the boring place.
I totally
Yes.
forgot about
But-
her name. Like the neighbor.
I had all these like weird theories about cats when she first came up. And I'm like, oh, she was showing Harry the cats because all of those cats are really witches.
Yeah.
And she's trying to train Harry to be able to identify the witches in the world because they're all disguised as cats. And then I was like, and there were 3 of them. So maybe those are the other registered animagus. And now Harry knows who they are. And I was like, forget it. She just has boring cats.
She's just a squib, though.
Yeah.
She's very much her and Filch could hit it off a great relationship. They got a bunch
Whoa,
of cats.
nice.
Oh,
You're
you should
so
set them
right.
Oh, right. We can play matchmaker with them.
Yeah.
That is very sweet. I think we should.
Because it's Mrs. Norris. What was her cat's name? She sent Mr. Tibbles or?
Yeah.
Something like that?
She referenced like her cats, I think a couple times, but I kept thinking they were people like Mr.
yeah.
Tibbles or whatever. And I was like, is this like another neighbor or what?
She's texting all the neighbors and making them as cats. Just like Moody made someone a weasel or a ferret. Okay, this book starts off, it goes, the hottest day of the summer so far was drawing to a close. and a drowsy silence lay over a large square house of Privet Drive. The only person left outside was a teenage boy who was lying flat on his back in a flower bed outside number 4. What do you guys think of Mrs. Fig?
I like her.
Yeah.
But I'm a little confused about, well, I guess maybe it's more about the next chapter where she explains a little more. But why she was so boring. And she said she had to be that way because she didn't want the Dursleys knowing he was having a good time. But again, maybe it's just me. I always just want more communication. So I'm thinking instead, how about just tell Harry exactly what's up?
Yeah.
But then explain to him what the plan is. Like, you have to pretend you hate this place, so the Dursleys keep sending you here. And then he could see her more than once a year. And think of all like the other things. Like, she could have been his mentor, could have been the Hagrid, or maybe let Hagrid do the first introduction when he's 11. But then from then on, Harry should have a teammate, someone who's there that he knows he can go to with these things. He would have been going over there all the time. And they could have posed it as like
why.
chores. No, but that's what I'm saying. Make it something like torture, like, oh no, I have to go over and do chores again, not clean the litter box another time. And then Harry could be going over there all the time. The Dursleys think he's getting tortured. They don't have to deal with him. And he could be getting like side training, tutoring. Well, maybe she's not qualified to really tutor, but at least tell
like
him about the wizarding world, because she knows a decent amount. She knows all the people. She's connected to Dumbledore, which also is the opposite of Voldemort. Voldemort wouldn't dare respect her as a wizard because she's a squib. So the fact that Dumbledore and these other wizards are like, hey,
that come up?
You have value. What? That she's a squib?
No, that Voldemort. I mean, obviously,
no,
she
I'm
has
just
power, but like,
yeah.
What it just? I thought you just didn't like Muggle-born.
It
Muggles.
seems like he doesn't like Muggles. He doesn't like even wizards that were born to Muggles, like him. Maybe we're still deciding. Yeah. So maybe I'm just. It just feels nice that a non-wizard is trusted as part of the inner circle.
Do you think?
From Dumbledore. Like,
Yeah.
you mean?
Yeah.
I didn't even pick up on that at all.
In Goblet of Fire, he goes, Fudge or Dumbledore asks Sirius to alert the old crowd, mentioning Lupin, Mundungus, and Arabella Fig. So he mentions those 3 people. So you know Lupin, obviously. Mundungus, Fletcher, you're like, that's a cool name. And then Fig just goes right over your head. You're like,
Totally.
that's like
missed
another
it.
old person, and you don't really realize that it's
That's
a neighbor
great.
Arabella Fig. It's pretty
Jim
cool.
Dale's accent for her is so great.
Oh, yeah?
It's so cute.
He is such a good voice actor. Oh my gosh. What do you guys? I'm going to ask you guys a lot of just impressions of characters at the moment. What do you think of Harry?
Like at the beginning or the end of the chapter?
Kind of throughout the whole thing, because does he change that significantly?
He's
I guess
regressing.
maybe.
He's regressing.
Yeah, I feel like he got less mature in the beginning of this.
Really?
Yeah, for whatever reason, it felt that way. Like the thing with, with Dudley at the beginning, he just felt so like childish, I guess. Like
I took it as he's angry.
yes, he's so
Misdirected
angry
anger.
and like he doesn't know how to process. I get that, like it's cool. And everything with Cedric, like maybe that he's not really processing. He doesn't, well, it said at some point here that he was like trying not to think about it. And I'm thinking of Dumbledore's quote of like, the stuff that if you avoid feeling it, it'll only get worse later when you do feel it. It just felt like he was angry and antsy, and I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, you're getting communication from the people you trust, like Arthur Weasley and Sirius, I think, right? So just sit tight, relax.
Do you know how
Like-
hard that is?
I'm sure very hard, but I think his reaction felt right for someone his age, but I wanted him to like rise above that and act like more than his age, maybe. So I think I just found myself a little frustrated that he was so like, I don't know how to describe it, but even with the Dursleys, I'm just like, can you just not like now at this point in my mind, I feel like he should be viewing like almost be more prideful. Like he should be able to be like, wow, there's a lot going on. And the Dursleys just don't know. They don't know their lives are at risk. They don't know the world changed. And they're mad at me because they're just stuck in their little worlds, and that's fine, whatever. And they say things and it just rolls off, you know? And then he can go in his room, get locked up there, study, read your books, and wait.
A teenager boy is not doing
No.
No, I get it, but that's what I'm saying. He's not a teenager
like-
anymore. He's fought the Dark Lord. He's
he is a
held a
teenager.
dying boy in his
Yeah, but that
arms.
doesn't
Yeah, but that's
mean-
why he's reacting this
yes.
way. He doesn't know how to process this.
And nobody's helping him process. But
No.
I just want more out
This
of him.
is all new territory for him. He's got to learn.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
this
definitely
is
coming
the-
out through anger.
Yes, this is the way he's
He's
learning.
looking for fights.
And I just feel like
that, though.
maybe that's part of his journey.
Accurate.
What, you think it's accurate?
I think,
Yeah, because
thought
I
so
would
too.
be annoyed too. Like I
Yeah.
think I would be in similar state where I'm just like so annoyed with everyone. I'm by myself
Mm-hmm.
at the Dursleys. There's stuff going on. Why isn't anyone informing me? Hermione and Ron are like together doing some whatever
Right.
thing, and I'm stuck here,
Yeah.
and I'd be annoyed. Mm-hmm. Mad.
It is one of the stages of grief, right? 5 stages of grief. I think
Yeah.
the second one is anger.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just processing through what happened.
Second
and he's-
stage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Wait,
just-
is the first one sadness?
Isn't it denial?
Denial.
Yeah, I
think.
think it's denial.
Oh,
anger,
denial, then anger.
I
Okay.
used to have these memorized for work.
yeah,
Oh.
and something. Acceptance is the last one. Depression
Yeah.
is the fourth one.
Yeah.
I forgot what the third one is.
Well, maybe we'll see all of them in this book. It's a big book.
Sad.
Yeah, maybe I just like time to myself, and it feels like that would be such a healthy thing if he did it the right way to take this. It's not that long, you know, like when did he get home from school? Like a month, he said he was at the Dursleys. And at least the final week of that was when he had already received the notice from the ministry and was locked in his room. So it was like 3 weeks that he's laying in hydrangeas listening to the news. And then another week that he already knows he's just got to sit tight and wait. And then by August 12th, he knows he's got the hearing. So like a few weeks, I'm thinking this is the perfect time to decompress. And it would not be fun. Don't get me wrong. But maybe it's just I have a hard time picturing the anger. It felt misguided.
Oh, see,
But if you guys,
I'm thinking
you're
about
like,
my own personal
you're like,
life
that makes perfect
experience.
sense.
Yeah, I liked to push. I was angry a lot.
Hmm.
Like just things that people would say. They were totally justified, and I would just want to like go back at them. Be like, you don't know, you don't understand. You
Like
know?
almost as a way of like self-coddling because it makes you like feel a little better in that moment.
Yeah, kind of. I just remember being
Angry.
definitely went through the anger stage. For
Yeah.
sure. So I can I related to him, and I was like, he doesn't know, he's young. I was 19 when I went through that, so he's 15. You know, it's a lot to process.
Yeah.
His anger is manifesting in different ways too. Did you ever want to just like pick out a fight with someone, or were you ever like almost like instigating a fight? Because I think that's happened with me for certain things. Like I'll have gotten angry over something, and I'm like, just like in a bad moment of like the fury of my anger, I'm just like, please come over to me right now. Please like do this so I could just get in a fight with you and like, you know, vent my anger and frustration. It's probably pretty terrible to do that, but
Yeah.
because Harry's anger is manifesting in different ways for this kind of stuff. Like those are the moments. I think a lot of his anger sometimes might be justified. Like I'm with you too on this. I think a lot of his anger is justified. If I was in his position, I'd probably be pretty angry too. But then it's manifesting in, I think, pretty poor ways of he's just a jerk
Yeah.
to the Dursleys, which I mean,
That's
that's kind of
understandable.
justified to Dudley, which is kind of justified.
But his true colors shown in a real, true Dudley situation. Am I jumping? No.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Right.
He saved Dudley. If he was really digging into that like hatred and anger, he could have totally just left him there and been like, oops.
And even deeper than that, how did he save Dudley? You guys remember?
Patronus.
How did he cast up the Patronus? What was the memory that he chose?
Oh, we
I
thought of
missed that.
Hermione and Ron, right?
Yep. As angry and frustrated as he was at them for not giving them notices,
Yeah.
the way that he casts up true happiness is by thinking of their faces. So deep down, it's being propelled by love. It's anger and frustration because they're not communicating with them. But that's the theme of this book. People don't communicate. Crap.
Yeah. Ugh.
Someone on chat just made an interesting note that mundungus is an actual word meaning stale, rancid tobacco. which just fits.
I feel like he would smell
That's what
it.
he smells like.
Yeah. Yeah. You get
That's
that
how
image
they-
and you're like, he definitely smells like
Yeah,
rancid
that's how they
tobacco.
explained it.
Yeah.
In a way. No, they definitely did, right?
Did they say that?
Yeah. I was just re-listening to
That's
it.
funny.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
when
great.
he comes back,
You had this.
Oh, right in the next chapter.
yeah, it literally says like stale tobacco and like
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. I didn't pick up
Something.
on that.
because
That's funny.
when does he come back? At the end of chapter 1?
Isn't it the beginning of chapter 2? Or
Page 22 in my book.
Does it say it like that? Explain.
There was a loud crack and a strong smell of mingled drink and stale tobacco.
Oh my
would be there.
gosh.
That's a great
hilarious.
catch, Jen. That's awesome.
Great.
That's
Nicely
so funny.
done.
Why do you think nothing has happened yet? Voldemort has risen to power, or he has risen again, not risen to power. He's risen again. Why has he not done anything newsworthy?
That would be too soon, I feel like.
So is he amassing his
Gaining
followers now?
strength and yeah. Also, I think he took a big hit from Harry when they were dueling.
An emotional blow.
Like everything. Maybe he's like reevaluating. Like, if this kid, I get another time.
He's on a retreat right now, reevaluating his life. He's really going to become good. He's going to turn to the
No.
good side. Harry's going to walk into the Order of the Phoenix, and Voldemort's going to be there. I'm sorry, Harry. I didn't mean it.
He's on a retreat.
What kind of retreats do you go to?
Rehab. Maybe he's doing a rehab, not a retreat. But this is great writing too, because the section that you were saying, he had moved about 2 inches when several things happened in very quick succession. A loud echoing crack broke the sleepy silence like a gunshot. A cat shrieked out from under a parked car and flew out of sight. A shriek, a bellowed oath, and the sound of breaking china came from the Dursleys' living room. And as though this was a signal Harry had been waiting for, he jumped to his feet. At the same time, pulling from the waistband of his jeans a thin wooden wand, as if he were unsheathing a sword. But before he could draw himself up to full height, the top of his head collided with the Dursleys' open window. The resultant crash made Aunt Petunia scream even louder. So what has happened here, according to the book? What's the loud crack?
Someone disapparating
Apparating?
or apparating, I guess the same noise.
Okay.
Mundungus.
So yeah, it's written later that it's Mundungus. Yeah.
Oh, that's not what you're asking.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Rehash the story. So Mundungus is the one that caused the crack. He left. Smells like tobacco. The cat's under the car, runs away, probably goes to a
That was the
witness's
one
fig.
that, yeah, she was placing him there.
Yeah. Mr. Tibbles, I think his name was. I keep forgetting. I think it was Mr.
That
Tibbles.
sounds right. Yeah.
Maybe. And then is this when the Dementors come into Little Whinging?
Well, that's the part I don't fully
Why
understand.
would they come then?
Like, it feels like the Dementors or Voldemort or someone, they were watching the whole situation, waiting for their opportunity to get in. And then when Mundungus left, they were like, go. That's how it felt to me.
Who's sending the
Right.
Dementors?
I don't know. Are they operating on their own? They don't quite seem like the type. Is it
Part of
Voldemort?
me was like, is it like the Ministry of Magic that's annoyed with Harry?
Wow, so they're sending out a Dementor?
I don't know. Like, that wouldn't make sense. It's really harsh. But I don't know.
Do you think Fudge would
Voldemort?
Do you think Fudge would send out a Dementor? Or would have someone else
mean,
send out a Dementor?
He definitely
I
would.
wouldn't be surprised because he did that with
Crouch Jr.
Crouch Jr.
brought a Dementor to murder him.
Or he
Or capture his soul and bring it to Voldemort. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you guys think that you're going to dislike Fudge or, Snape
really
or another
don't
character
like-
more than Voldemort? Like, is Voldemort highest on your list of person that you dislike, or is there another person above that? And do you think that there could be another person above who you currently hate?
I think there are going to be characters that are going to annoy the crap out of me more frequently through the chapters, so that way it probably would surpass Voldemort in a way, because he's probably like in the background doing his evil thing.
Yeah, Voldemort does feel far away.
Like Fudge really does annoy me right now.
Yeah.
I'm so annoyed with him. So that's why I said that he
Yeah.
sent.
He could be the one sending Dementors. Yeah, absolutely.
And we've seen a lot of trials now. Well, 3 of them, 4 of them if you include what was the Buckbeak.
Yeah.
So Harry's trial does not fill me with the warm fuzzies of justice. So I think when we get to Harry's hearing, it's going to be very frustrating. Because I just don't think of the ministry as being just. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be frustrated with Fudge and other ministry officials. It seems so lame right now.
Are you guys frustrated with Ron and Hermione right now?
No.
No, not really.
Really?
Like I wanted them to like give Harry a little bit more, but I didn't find
Really?
myself annoyed at them. I
They
don't know.
wrote him letters, right?
Yeah, but they didn't include a lot of information.
But
It was like
because they
sit tight
couldn't.
soon. Right.
Are they
I feel
under
like
restrictions.
yeah,
what
right.
I
I'm like
thought.
they don't want to put stuff into these letters. They could always be intercepted, or so we keep hearing. So it just felt like they're doing what they're told. Like they're not sending letters to Harry like on their own, sneaking on the side. I get the idea that like Harry is the center of attention, especially by the end of chapter 3, of all of the good guys. So anyone who's sending him a letter, that's not just Ron in his room like, oh yeah, Pigwidgeon, send this off. It's like getting his parents are reading it with him and saying, okay, you can say that. No, cross that out. You can't write that. And like, it feels like it's not as simple as just friends writing letters anymore.
But I think my thought was that Ron and Hermione are at this headquarters
Oh, okay.
sending letters from there because they're trying
People live at this place, you think?
for
Yeah, could be.
temporary time.
I was just picturing them
maybe.
at the Burrow, but
But that's why I don't. At first, I thought that's annoying, right? Oh, they're just hanging out. I'm like, oh, they're bonding with their relationship is growing, I should say. And like Mrs. Weasley loves Hermione, so she was like, "You can stay with us, especially because everything's going on. Your parents are clueless because they're Muggles, blah blah blah." But then I thought, because of the way they were writing to Harry, that they were at this Order of the Phoenix already area.
yeah, that might make sense.
Because then the Weasley parents were also given a task to like, what did Dumbledore say to Mrs. Weasley? And then Charlie too, right? I don't know. So I was like, maybe the parents are involved with something else, so the kids should be somewhere safe. But
That would definitely make sense.
Do you think so? Ron and Hermione, they're kind of restricted on communicating, but why doesn't like Dumbledore come to, little whinging and communicate some of this stuff to Harry? Like, why is Harry so in the dark here?
That doesn't make sense to me yet. Feels weird.
maybe it's like less knowledge the better for you. Like no one.
Yeah,
can-
but again, it's just other people like deciding for Harry. I'm like, just tell him stuff. But that's been every book so far, to be
gonna
honest.
say, that's the
like
pattern.
that is the move. Keep Harry in the dark and thus us in the dark.
Poor guy.
So yeah, I'm like, oh
That's
man,
why
it'd
he's
be-
so angry.
yeah, because he's been in the dark forever. He's a mushroom.
What?
Because you keep them in the dark.
And then
And
nice
You didn't know
moist
about mushroom growth?
environment.
Because that comparison's just always at the forefront of my mind.
In front of mine.
Is he like Toad from Mario Kart?
He was the best.
Man, I don't know. But in my mind, again, I trust Dumbledore. So I'm like, there must be a reason. And they're giving him communication. Dumbledore's running around doing all sorts of different things. I feel like there must be a reason. Maybe that's just the place I'm at where I'm like, trust Dumbledore, trust the Weasleys. They're telling you this stuff. Just sit tight and wait. Because in the past, I feel like, no, I was going to say maybe that's always worked out. But even as I'm saying it, I'm like, if he had listened to every piece of advice that like the Weasleys or Dumbledore had told him, would it have worked out? I feel like no. He has to embrace his rebellious side and just listen to his heart. And he's done that a few times where I think it's paid off. But I can't remember at the moment.
And maybe this is again why
Disney
Harry
song?
is like ticked off. Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too.
When it's calling for you.
I know. Yeah, what is that from?
It's like the techno song or whatever.
Yeah.
What was it?
There's nothing else you can do. I don't know where you're going.
He's
Is it
gonna
a
sing the
Disney
whole
song?
song right now.
I
It's not a
don't
Disney
know.
song.
No, it's just like a popular.
I thought it was Disney because he always references
yeah, we're not
Disney.
going
Yeah, no. But in high school, we had a little dance crew, and we did
right. I
a
remember
dance
that.
to
Yeah,
that
yeah.
song one time.
Dance
Oh
crew?
my
Yeah.
goodness.
Not your kind of
Were you part
dancing.
of
That's
this?
actually
No, I was
good.
the judge.
You're
we
a
did
judge.
like a America's Got Talent kind of thing, or like American Idol,
Yeah.
or talent show.
Oh my
Exactly.
And I was the Simon Cowell judge. So
It was
super-
hilarious.
super harsh.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, Danny, makes sense because, like, here is Harry's anger truly justified here because no information is getting told him, and he really is the center of attention here. He's
Yes.
the person in the graveyard, so like, is his anger truly justified here? I mean, anger maybe is it ever justified? I don't know. But how he communicates to people, it's like I was there. I like saw all this stuff happen. So like, why aren't you keeping me informed of this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Voldemort is after him
Right.
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
So
And maybe I just keep expecting there to be an answer at the end of this, like where he finally talks to Dumbledore and Dumbledore explains why. And that better be a pretty good reason. And in my head right now, it is a good enough reason. But I'm going to be pretty annoyed if it isn't. Like, just because why keep him in the dark? Every time they keep him in the dark. So why now? It feels like he still thinks of himself as a kid. And even with the whole, well, we'll get to that in the next chapter, but like, you know, using magic when he's not supposed to underage, blah, blah, blah. Like, I do feel bad for him. He's just getting like tossed around and no one seems to really respect his own opinion. So it just feels odd, the whole thing.
Because, I mean, we talked about this line before, but Harry watched the dark figures crossing the grass and wondered who they had been beating up tonight. Looking around, Harry found himself thinking as he watched them, "Come on, look around. I'm sitting all here alone. Come and have a go." His anger is just manifesting in like almost near violent ways where he just wants to beat up someone or like he's instigating, he's goading people. Which is just, I don't know. It's interesting because I've definitely done that before. So
He threw away their chocolate,
I
their
know.
birthday presents.
I
That just felt
know.
so like,
you know what? In the moment, you just got to do something.
is
and
that
it's
like a
I'm throwing the
satisfying
oh,
thing?
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
I'm throwing this away.
so it's like so petty, but it kind
It
of
is so petty, but in the
Yeah.
moment, you got to just do it.
It's something to do, and
Yep.
you can't
Yeah.
break anything else. You might as well throw away chocolate.
It's
but-
like meaningless to the people that gave it to you.
yeah,
like,
right,
whatever.
right, but
Right.
it still
But
lets
for
you
him,
get out some anger.
symbolic.
Yeah.
Harry mentions this line because in the meantime, he had nothing to look forward to but another restless, disturbed night. Because even when he escaped the nightmares about Cedric, he had unsettling dreams about long, dark corridors, all finishing in dead ends and unlocked doors, which he supposed had something to do with the trap feeling he had when he was awake. Do you think Harry's right? Do you think this has something to do with the trap feeling? Do you think he's actually dreaming about a place? Or is this just a metaphor for like he's in the maze of, you know, the Goblet of Fire and it's like a different kind of maze?
I think it's a real place.
So is Harry constantly having visions then?
I
And
think
what is this real place?
Whatever Trelawney has, this divination thing, I think Harry has more of that than he realizes. And when the whole thing with Voldemort, we still don't fully understand when he was like 1 year old. But I feel like Voldemort knows a little bit about the future, just like Dumbledore does. And I feel like this might be a Harry thing. So far, he's been pretty spot on. Even when we were like kind of half joking about that time with Ron where he was making up his homework for divination and just like throwing it out there, but you're like, yeah, but he did kind of drown.
He kind of drowned
Maybe twice, you know, like it kind of, and I think there were still a few things that were in there. Like he talked about like dying or something maybe. And I'm like, well, it didn't all really happen, but, he did have that vision when he fell asleep.
Yeah.
He did have that dream, even though that was present time with Voldemort and Wormtail and Frank and Nagini. So Harry's got the gift. But to see a vision of the future, long corridors, I kind of think so, but it just feels a little weird. It could be a metaphor.
Yeah. What do you think, Jen? Do you think this is actually a place?
I missed the beginning. I'm sorry.
It's when he's dreaming. So it says he's dreaming of long dark corridors, all finishing in dead ends and locked doors, which he supposed had something to do with the trap feeling he had when he was awake. So, is this a real place, or where do you think this is? Do you think this is somewhere in Hogwarts?
I feel like he gets visions from Voldemort, though, like Voldemort's life. So I wonder if he's like seeing areas that Voldemort are. Is that potentially?
So do you think? Okay, so that's a really interesting point that you mentioned. So Harry gets visions of Voldemort, right? We saw that in the last book of like his life. Do you think Voldemort is getting visions of Harry? Do you think that this is a connection, or this is a one-way tunnel?
I would like to think it's a one-way tunnel that Harry gets intel, but I feel like it maybe goes both ways. But maybe not, because
I tend to agree with you, but maybe not.
Well, only because wouldn't Voldemort have known about the Goblet of Fire, like that Harry? I guess no. They put his name in the goblet.
And he wasn't like fully formed. He was a demon baby at that point. So maybe he didn't have the connection quite yet.
Yeah, not a strong enough connection.
Yeah, I think it's both. It goes both ways, and some because why are they protecting Harry so much too?
Yeah,
maybe.
And why do they have this connection?
We'll find out. I hope. Well, it has to. I mean. I think it has to do with the instance as a baby when he tried to kill him, and then the fact that they have some kind of connection because their wands are from the same phoenix. Is there any way that they're somehow related? I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe Voldemort's family is the Potters, and he went to go kill them so he could be the only standing one.
It's interesting.
That's a great response to that.
I just can't quite find I can't quite find a way that could work, but I think it could.
McGonagall's Harry's grandma.
No,
Let's just go back to that.
she still could be. She still could be Voldemort's mom.
Oh my gosh!
But I'm just trying to think of the Petunia thing because she gets that letter like, "Remember my last." So I'm like,
maybe that's from Voldemort.
Right. Well, that was my initial instinct, but then
you said that.
That still feels weird. Like, could Voldemort be Petunia and Lily's father? Yeah, maybe. But that whole connection thing just still feels weird.
Father?
Well, age-wise, that's
Who's
the only thing that would make
touching
sense.
Ew.
You were the one who said he was hot, so don't even.
This is true.
Jen, last movie, Voldemort was kind of
Good looking.
And this is coming from a Hermione, so like, let alone those who lean evil.
Wait, what?
Because you guys are Hermione's,
Oh.
But think of all the evil people out there in the world.
And crazy
Think about
hair, I guess.
Mrs. Malfoy,
Yeah.
That woman who was going to Azkaban, like yelling in the trial. These are people who'd be totally down with some Voldemort.
One-on-one time.
Yeah.
Oh my
boy.
goodness.
Anyways, I'm just trying to think of how there could be a connection that goes deeper with Voldemort and the Potters, but there's not enough to come up with anything substantial.
I know there has to be
But there
something.
is a connection, and that's why I think it's two-way.
Why was he going to kill them? That's like what I want to know.
Yeah, we still don't really
Yeah,
know the
no.
answer to that. We still don't even know if Lily is a wizard or a muggle.
No, I know she's a witch.
Oh.
You don't, but that's okay.
Yeah, I guess I'll catch up eventually.
Maybe.
And so,
I'm gonna eat those words.
you know what? I think I'm just projecting other movies, and it's usually a two-way thing. Because this was a Star Wars thing in the most recent 3 Star Wars movies. In one of them, I forget which one, it's the Kylo Ren and Rey thing. They can both see each other, and they're like, we got to find each other based on the visions we're getting from each other's perspective. And it just gives me that vibe here of like, this is a two-way street. Voldemort is seeing that. And maybe that's why he had to stay at Privet Drive, because
that's what I was thinking.
they had to like find a way of securing the Phoenix, Order of the Phoenix location, because they don't want Voldemort getting a vision of where that is.
Right. And that's why Dumbledore didn't tell anything. Like, isn't sharing any information. Maybe. That's why he's in the dark, because he can't know things, because Voldemort will then know what's going on.
Yeah, maybe, because we don't know what the window is they were looking for, too. They're like, in 15 minutes exactly. Maybe someone was keeping an eye on Voldemort. Well, that seems a little extreme now, but like, what if they can't let Voldemort be asleep when it happens, because he'd get one of those visions of with Harry, he'd dream. They're like, he's awake, move.
But also,
And then
there
by
was
the time
like so
they
many
get
people
there-
coming to get Harry. That's what I thought was interesting, too.
That was so
like,
weird.
instead of just one. Like, it could have been Tonks or Mad-Eye Moody. But it was like three or three?
It was more than that.
It was a whole bunch. I wrote them
It was
down.
enough
Yeah.
that they
Like,
were
there's a
like
lot of new people.
surrounded, and there was a
10
backup
people.
crew.
Yeah.
Like, they expected to be attacked.
I mean, some of this, we'll get to that, but some of the stuff
So
Moody was saying,
intense.
he was like, I mean,
There was
He's
Seven.
like, if
All
some
them
of
were
us
joking about
die,
that,
I was like, what?
but he was like, if we die, keep riding west, there's going to be people who are reinforcements who will come get you. It's insane. But we'll get to that in a
Very
bit.
intense. Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else in this chapter, in the first chapter?
I still can't figure out if Dudley is actually like fit now. Like, he's big. Like, I'm like,
bit, yeah.
is he like overweight still, or is he like a boxer? Like, he's getting fit and shredded.
I mean, he
be.
sucker punched Harry. That was so annoying.
Yeah, that was not cool. Big D.
Yeah, didn't it take the last year to diet? Didn't it?
But
Yeah.
it's just hard to actually picture him this way now. Like, he
Going
feels
from a
so,
whale.
Yeah, from the size of an orca or whatever they said. And now he's
He was a
fit.
baby whale, a young whale, or something like that.
Yeah, so that whole dynamic, and then the bullying and whatever, I'm like, oh, this is so weird.
He's kind of fit now. He's like, I mean, I guess because boxing just gets you in shape. So I think he's still massive, but I feel like he's gone from like being baby weight to being like, you know, like adult overweight.
Solid. Like,
Solid,
weight.
like
Baby
unit,
whale
yeah.
to
Yeah.
whale.
Like, it used to be jiggly,
Like a baby
but
whale
now
is like,
it's
yeah,
solid.
yeah, baby fat. Now he's got like muscle attached to some of that fat.
Somewhere.
It's somewhere deep in there.
He's just a big boy.
How are we going to see this in the movie? Every time I picture, because they cut out like the intro, usually. And I'm like, oh, this would be fun to see visually, the Dementors and Dudley
Yeah,
and their reaction.
Don't get your hopes up, though.
I know.
Danny,
Yeah, I guess
at
my
the beginning of
mind.
every book, I can't wait to see this in the movie. No.
Yeah, in the movie, all these chapters are just going to be gone. It's going to start in the Order of the Phoenix place, blah, blah, blah.
I will say they did a different screenwriter for this movie, and much more beloved than the previous
Oh,
screenwriters.
awesome.
So
Why do they keep changing though?
I don't know. They change directors all the time. I don't know why.
I feel like you would
Yeah.
keep it consistent, like
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
we
the
have
only
a
other-
while till we get there though.
I know. We're going to be here for months.
I also...
Just embrace it, soak it up.
It is
Come on.
so good. I thought it was weird that the Dementor, when Harry was like kind of wrestling with the Dementor a little bit, the Dementor said, "I've never died. Bow to death, Harry. It might even be painless. I would not know. I have never died." So I'm still like forming my opinion of what a Dementor even is. But I was starting to have that thought of Dementors did die, and they almost are like zombies or like brought back from the dead.
That was what
so
Voldemort said.
what?
To Harry. That line?
That line is from Voldemort?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Jim Dale did a Voldemort voice. So
No. I
remembered that too.
Yeah,
no,
that's a Voldemort
yeah, that's
line,
what I
yeah.
mean. Like,
Give her some credit.
Yeah.
no, I'm not trying to take away the credit, but like that adds
with you,
the
Jen.
clarity. Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen.
So Voldemort is saying, "I have never died."
It was very clear at the end of the Goblet of Fire. He said that as like a proud moment.
So this is in
I don't
Harry's
know.
head,
I
but
would never-
from Voldemort, not a Dementor thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but maybe the Dementor
Gotcha.
created it.
Because I thought of
from
the first
surface.
What book was that? I don't know. They're all blended. When they're on the train and the Dementor comes.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah,
Three.
yeah.
That's
Three?
3, yeah.
Oh,
That was 3.
Azkaban.
Wow.
of
I was going to
Azkaban.
say book 1. I was like, that's not right.
Definitely not. Can you imagine Harry
Rough start.
literally has never seen
Thrown
any
in.
magic happen, and then he goes,
Oh boy. See, my
on the deep
timeline does
end.
not work. And now I distracted myself. I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, the first Dementor, like,
Yeah.
we heard the woman screaming.
Right.
Harry's
And
head.
that
So that's
was,
how
we're
I
saying
took
Lily
this.
probably. So this is again like just a Harry moment in his own head of like his
That's
own
how I took
memories
it.
and fears. And yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
because they
Is that
do,
what
yeah,
you
they
did?
Yeah. But you're thinking it was a Dementor saying they never die?
Yeah. Oh, I viewed these words as coming from
The actual-
the Dementor itself,
interesting.
like talking to Harry. Because I'm still trying to form an opinion about the Dementors.
What page is that?
18.
Dementors are slightly anomalous. Like they're a strange group of being. There's not like clear. There is kind of clear canon on where they came from, but like not how they came to being. So you guys want a little backstory on the Dementors?
Yeah, sure.
Of course.
Jen's gonna laugh at me because I'm gonna nerd out for a second on Dementors. But there was a dark wizard, I think in like the 15th century, and he would play, I think, games with Muggles. You remember the short story, The Most Dangerous Game?
Yeah.
Where like someone would have people come to his island and he would hunt them because he got sick of hunting animals. So he would play a game with people.
Oh, sounds healthy.
It was I remember reading it in high school English
Fascinating
class. And
story,
like, that's
yeah.
You heard of this
crazy.
book,
Yeah.
Jen?
No.
Okay,
I
me
never
neither.
heard of
It's just a short story, I think.
Well,
It's like a
that's
guy
not
who
good.
gets bored of hunting like animals, so he has people come to his island, he shipwrecks them, and then they have to like fend for themselves.
Goodness
And
gracious.
like it's like the Hunger Games kind of,
Yeah.
but more like hunting. So this guy did something like that. He would draw Muggles in, and he would like terrify them, and it was like he was a very evil wizard. And I think they left this island after he died for a while, and all of a sudden they came back to it, and Dementors were there, like feeding on like happy memories of these people that were there. So they didn't quite know what to do. I think wizards were like, we don't know where these came from or what happened. And so there was like a lot of debate for what they should do with this island or anything like that. And I think it came to the point where they were like, let's just give them a job and put our prisoners here, because there was a big
Whoa.
fortress on this island. And so that's where Azkaban is. And Dementors did not have allowance to go anywhere else except for that island until Prisoner of Azkaban, when they were given permission to go to Hogwarts.
That was the
and
first
search.
time they were like.
I believe that was the
released
first
elsewhere?
time.
Whoa.
Yeah. I think I'm not positive. I'm not 100% positive, but I think that's kind of how it went. And there was all sorts of debate in the Ministry of Magic for whether they should use them or not. But there was such fear over what they would do if they just let them free and said, you can't guard Azkaban anymore, that they just let them guard Azkaban, and that was their job. Because if they were like, okay, you can't do this, we're going to hire wizards to guard this prison. They didn't know what was going to happen, where they were going to go, what they were going to do, and they might terrorize the world. So there's like a little bit of anonymity for what these creatures are and where they came from, but that's kind of a little bit of their origin story or their backstory.
Whoa.
Pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
And a natural alliance with Voldemort.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They kind of have their origin with dark wizards to an
Well, they
extent.
are like Death Eaters,
Yeah,
naturally.
Oh yeah.
for sure. Yeah, kind of.
Maybe that's where they got the name from.
Yeah. And then why, just as like a general question, why wasn't Harry able to cast his Patronus?
Because he's angry and pissed.
Yeah, because he's angry and pissed. I feel like that's very true to life too.
Yeah, like how can it's really hard to think of something like happy when you're like
Yeah.
in that state of mind.
Yeah.
You just want to stay there. I would.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. Me too.
We have someone in the chat saying this too. This is interesting. There are 3 classifications of magical being: beast, being, and spirit. The Dementor is a bit of an amalgamation of all 3. I don't know. That's interesting. But yeah, Harry can't cast Patronus because he's angry at this moment. And like, I feel like a lot of us relate to some extent. But I think it's actually really beautiful writing. How he's able to conjure it is just by thinking of his friends, and there's like a deeper form of love behind his anger. He's really frustrated at his friends because for like loving reasons, because he wants them in his life, because he wants to be known by these people, and he's mad at that. So he kind of gets through all that and is able to cast Patronus, which is great. And the chapter ends and chapter 2 begins. peck of owls. What is this chapter about?
Kristen, you have one?
Oh boy, I wrote a lot. Hold on.
Oh, nice.
I'll just read it. I don't really know what I wrote. I don't remember. We discover Mrs. Fig is a squib and has been keeping watch over Harry all these years. Harry is expelled from Hogwarts for performing magic. Then it's reversed from Dumbledore fighting his case. Everyone is sending owls to tell Harry to stay in the house. Vernon and Petunia have what... I kind of went into like my own thoughts. Vernon and Petunia have what feels like the very first real conversation with Harry about the Wizarding World. Vernon wants to kick Harry out, but something is causing Petunia to keep him there. Because of the Howler. Remember my last, Petunia.
Remember my last. What a great line. We talked about Mrs. Fig being involved in the Wizarding World. There's an all-time line right here. What's up, Figgy? It's one of my favorite lines.
I just laughed. I wrote that down. It cracked me up.
That makes me like Mundungus a little bit more. I mean, he like fluctuates in my mind, but when he just comes back and goes, "What's up, Figgy?" Yeah. So great. We talked about Mundungus Fletcher too, but what are your general thoughts on Mundungus Fletcher?
Why was he put in charge of Harry?
Right?
He just seems very self-consumed. Like, oh, this is a good opportunity for me. I'm going to go. Bye, Harry.
And they were like taking shifts.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
And at the time when I was reading this, I was like, it's kind of funny. He seems likable. He's so chill. I'm like, good. Mrs. Fig is just a little bit like high strung. But then after hearing the way Moody and these other, people, Lupin and all them are reacting, I'm like, maybe it was incredibly irresponsible that Mundungus left and it could have cost Harry his life.
Yep.
So then I'm like, all right, well, that makes me really not like him. But we kind of have to see how serious it is before I can make a final
Did
judgment.
Dumbledore place him there? Because that lines up.
Yeah, you're right. He'll bring him in to be the teacher of the
He's using the
dark
same
arts.
safety measures that he does on Hogwarts
Yeah.
and Harry now. And those are so safe. Such a safe place. We get some good lines in this. Mrs. Fig goes, "I'll take you to the door," as they turn into Privilege Ave, just in case there are more of them around. Oh my word, what a catastrophe. And you had to fight them off yourself. And Dumbledore said said we were keeping you from doing magic, or we were to keep you from doing magic at all costs. Well, it's no good crying over spilled potion, I suppose. But that's a cat's among the pixies now. Great line. But why does Dumbledore want to keep Harry from doing magic at all costs?
He doesn't trust the Ministry at all. It makes me feel like the Ministry doesn't know where Harry lives, so that even a bad person in the Ministry, like Lucius Malfoy, he might not know where Harry actually lives during the summers, but they have this method. The Ministry have their own ways of detecting underage magic. They'll know already. You mark my words. So like they know that the Ministry has this giant monitoring system of magic in place. So maybe it's because it would give away Harry's position. But it seems weird that they wouldn't already know where he is. Like a giant Marauders map of some kind to show where all the wizards are in the world. But something about him using magic, I think, gives away his position to Voldemort. Or the Ministry, or both.
Do their wands talk to each other?
Ooh, interesting.
I don't know. I don't even know what that means, but
maybe.
Dumbledore's like, or not Dumbledore, Voldemort's like reading, he's like passing spells out that like can track Harry through the wands. That'd be pretty crazy. It's like a walkie-talkie system, but like unintentional. In this moment, it's probably, so Harry gets expelled and his stomach just drops out of his body. Have you guys had a moment in your life when something, not like you haven't gotten expelled, but where something has
maybe
happened?
the two of you. Since we're Hermione's.
Have you guys had something happen where your stomach like literally drops out of your body and you're like, oh?
I do have a funny story, but
Let's hear it.
Tell
I
it.
don't know if I should say it.
Come on.
I mean, it's whatever. I won't go into specifics. I sent a text that I thought was only meant for my siblings years ago, and my parents were in it. Yeah.
And then your stomach drops.
Yep. I found my mom's phone and was able to delete that one. And I was looking outside and my dad was outside and I just saw him pull his phone out of his back pocket, read the text, shake his head, and I left.
Left the house.
I was like, well, bye guys. I'm out.
That's
I don't know how long I was gone for, but
She's never been back.
Oh man.
yeah. Anyway, my stomach dropped.
Ooh. The fact that you got to look out the window
I
and
witnessed the
watch
whole
it.
thing.
Oh,
Yep.
goodness.
I was like, well, I'm dead.
And I'm picturing your stealth maneuvers getting to your mom's phone. Like, what the?
Ran around the house trying to find it.
Yeah. That is great.
Yeah, got 50% and then not so lucky with the other 50.
Great attempt. I think because of the expelled part, it reminded me of a school moment where this happened. John was there. So we were going on a field trip. I think it was 8th grade. We were going to the city and we were going to tour CNN building or something. And we were going to like go in all the studios where they film things, blah,
And that
blah,
was
blah.
ninth grade.
9th grade. Oof. I was old enough to know better. So I thought we could wear jeans to the field trip. So I go to put my jeans on and I had a knife because I had gone hiking or something, and I swap it into my dress pants that I would wear to school. Just kind of like I would have pairs of pants laying on the chair at the end of my bed, blah, blah, blah. Find out, can't wear jeans. So my mom says, no, other pants, blah, blah, blah. I swap. We get to school. We get going. All of a sudden, we finally get to the CNN building, and I feel like we're about to go through metal detectors, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have this knife in my pocket. Shoot. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I turned to my friend Jimmy and I'm like, you've got a backpack. Put it in one of those lockers. Let me like put this in there. It's going to be fine because the backpack's in the lockers. It doesn't go through. And then he's like, no, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. I don't want to get in trouble. He said, we're in the gift shop. Just go hide it in the gift shop and get it later. I'm like, great idea. So
Oh boy.
I go into the gift shop and I hide this knife between two random t-shirts in the gift shop. And then we go on this tour of this whole facility. No. And there's just this moment where we're like going through the tour and I'm high strung the whole time. I'm like, oh my goodness, what have I done? And all just because I didn't want to lose this knife. I could have thrown it in the trash or something, but I was like, no, I want to save this thing. It's awesome. And then there was a moment, this big long hallway. I see these gigantic security guards coming down the hallway, walking. And I'm like, this is it. And then they go and talk to my teacher. And then they talk to her for a few minutes, a while. And I'm like, I know this is about me. But then they walk away. I'm like, maybe I'm in the clear. So we get back to the gift shop and I go over to where I hid this thing and I like get close and I turn to make sure nobody's looking, and my teacher is right there staring at me, and I'm like, abort mission. So I just turn and leave. And then I was like, oh well, I lost it. Some random person's gonna find it there in the gift shop later, so be it. But then the rest of the field trip, my teacher was being super suspicious. Museum of Natural History, blah, blah, blah. She was keeping an eye on me. Couldn't go to the bathroom by myself, whatever. And I knew, all right, jig's up. So we get in the bus on the way back and we go through this whole thing, get back. The principal talks to me, pulls me in the office and says, did you leave something in the gift shop? I was like, oh my goodness. So I confessed the whole thing. And I was like, it was so dumb. I have no idea why. In school suspension, 2 days. And at the time, it was definitely a punishment. But by the end of those 2 days, I was in this in-school suspension with just me and the principal for however many days. I think it was 2. And we became actual friends. He could tell that I had no ill intent. So by the end of it, we were boys. He had only been the principal for like a year or 2, so he was kind of fresh. He came from the inner city. I think the idea of a knife at school freaked him out.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. And so then by the end of it, he's like, oh, okay, there was nothing crazy about this. And then he asked me to mow his lawn, and I mowed his lawn for the next 4 years of high school.
That's incredible. That's so cool.
So anyways,
I feel like this was like a parallel Harry story.
In that moment.
Yeah. Like if we were reading about this in the book, you would be like, why didn't Harry just go to the teacher and say, here, this was in my pocket?
Thing. You know, why is he being an idiot? And I'm probably the same age as him too. Very fair.
Yeah, you have to be more mature about everything.
But he's the chosen one. I'm not the chosen
How
one.
do you know?
That doesn't make your maturity. He's just the chosen
I
one.
guess. I just expect a lot out of Harry.
Maybe you are a chosen one.
I'm the chosen one. Nice.
A chosen one.
The chosen one.
Yeah. Wait, someone's asking, do you still have the knife?
I do. Yeah.
No way.
Yep.
That's
How
so
did you get it
cool.
back?
The principal gave it back to me. My parents had to come in for that whole bit.
Oh my gosh.
But
Did you
yeah.
get punished at home too?
I did, but they also, I forget what that punishment was. It wasn't nearly as shameful as missing school for, I think one day I wasn't even allowed in school until they arrived at the punishment of in-school suspension. Maybe. It's all a blur. It was so long ago now, but it was something
Then
along
that's
those
like,
lines.
I don't know why suspension is like you don't come to school. That is
Right.
like a gift.
Right?
It is
Yeah.
kind of, right?
Yeah.
But in school suspension, it was like a really long detention just sitting
Yeah.
in one person's office like the whole day long for 2 days. That was rough.
It is wild too. Like, why can't they? I mean, I feel like when you're a teacher, you know good students from bad, and you know good intentions from bad students. I'm like, Danny wouldn't like have had ill intent with a knife. Like, that's the most ridiculous, ludicrous thing I've ever heard. So I'm like, just like hear his story and be like, oh, that's like an honest mistake. Like there's two things, or one thing I have a story. I got punished from one thing that was like the stupidest thing ever. Well, I got like punished for a lot of stupid things, but when I was in, I don't know if you remember this because you were in my class. I think you might probably remember this.
I'm thinking of a few stories. I'm just not sure which one it's going to be.
And I think it was second grade.
Oh, this is a throwback.
Me and Danny were we were like block builders. We were like architects back then. And we built like all this like cool stuff, intricate stuff. We were great. And our teacher was like very intense. So one time, I have a few different ones from nuts, insane teachers. But I would get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every single day. And I just didn't like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that much. And I didn't want to tell my mom. I'm like, but I just kept getting them. And so I ate everything else except for the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And what I would do is I would usually just throw out the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And apparently that was a big taboo. So I remember one time going to the garbage can, having the peanut butter and jelly sandwich and just throwing it out in the garbage can, like not thinking that much of it. And then freaking Rebecca.
Oh, Rebecca.
She goes and tells our teacher that I threw away a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And the teacher walks over to me and she's like, did you throw away your peanut butter and jelly sandwich? And in the moment, I'm like, didn't think it was a big deal, but I'm like, no, I didn't. And I stuck to my guns of not saying that I threw away the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I got picked up from school from my mom. My teacher goes over to the car and explains the whole situation when I'm like sitting there talking to someone else, or like one of my friends. She's explaining this whole situation to my mom. And then like nothing happens. And I just like go home and we're like fine. And I'm like, my stomach is in knots. I'm like dreading something. And then all of a sudden I get a call from someone at my house. And I'm like, this is my life is over. I'm not gonna be able to live anymore. I'm like, Harry, I'm like, okay, I gotta run away. You know?
Run away.
And it was the teacher again, and she called my dad.
Are you serious?
And because the bigger issue with my parents was that I just lied about it. Like, why didn't you tell the truth? Why didn't you just tell us you didn't like the story? So I remember my dad came and he like sat me down in the bed. He's like, look me in the eye. He's like, did you throw away the peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I remember breaking down and crying and weeping. And I had to call the teacher and tell her I threw away the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And it was like, why is this a big deal at all? But I remember my stomach.
Because
in
of
that
Rebecca.
moment. Yeah, I know. Freaking Rebecca. Are you kidding me? She became one of my better friends in high school. But we'll never forgive her for that. It was awful. And then I have another story where I forgot there was a test or a quiz, a vocab quiz. And I came into school and I realized it's vocab quizzes now. And my mom I didn't tell my mom that I had the vocab quiz. So that week, she's like, okay, let's study for your vocab quiz together. So I studied my vocab quiz with her after I had already failed the quiz.
Oh no.
So that Friday, we got our Friday folders back and she sees I failed the quiz and she's like, Jonathan, this doesn't make any sense. You nailed all your vocab words with me at home. And she goes to the teacher the next Monday, has a whole conversation with the teacher about how I knew the vocab words. Can I just get a retake on the quiz? And I remember looking at that conversation and I was like in agony. I was like, I am going to get demolished at home for this.
Goodness.
Turns out my mom never mentioned when we studied, my teacher had never mentioned when the quiz
my
was.
goodness.
Oh my gosh.
I got to retake the quiz. I aced it. My
It's a
mom
miracle.
still doesn't know to this point.
Yeah.
Well,
big
So,
shout
Mom,
out.
you never listened to this. I'm sorry.
The confessions are coming out.
Oh, that's so
Doesn't
great.
Oh,
my
so
gosh,
that
that's
was
great.
my. Those are my moments when my stomach dropped out of my body.
I had so many moments of that when you said vocab quiz, but I was that kid that I went in literally 5 minutes, studied all 20 vocab words, and I'd get 100.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Sorry.
You would remember.
You
it?
smart
Yeah.
person, you.
I hate that. I couldn't stand people like you in high school.
Sorry.
Wow. You must have something, Jen.
Oh, I have a ton, but
Ooh, nice.
I'm not gonna say anything.
They're all too close to home. There's something about those heart-dropping moments. It reminds me of when we were going around talking about like running late, how whenever that was a couple books ago. Like just those moments where you're like your heart drops. You know what I mean? It's like same vibe,
When
but there's
I,
just
like,
punishment
snooze
vibes.
too long in the morning,
yeah.
and I'm the opener, and
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be opening the whole department, and I slept like 45 minutes into the time that I should have been leaving. I remember waking. I'm supposed to be at work at 6:30 in the morning. I woke up at 6:15.
Oh.
It
how long
takes
is the
me a
drive?
half an hour to get to work. So that would be one of them where I wake up. No, it's not really this time. It's this time. What do I do? And I was like rushing to get changed. Got ready in 10 minutes to leave. I'm texting my boss. I'm so late. I'm so sorry.
Traffic is so bad right now. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't even do that. Like, I slept through all my
Yeah.
alarms. I'll get it done. But that was the fastest I've done, like, opening up the department. So quick.
That's so.
But that's the worst, too, because it's the morning.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not
throws
really
you off.
awake.
start off the day so bad.
And you're
Yeah.
like, what's going on? This can't be real. Like, all these things.
Right.
You're like, no.
That's awful.
Yeah, not fun
So
at all.
now we all kind of know what Harry's feeling in this moment. Where he's like, I'm expelled. His whole life flashes before his eyes a little bit, which sucks. And then we got this interesting line. How many times do I have to tell you, said Harry, temper flailing and voice both rising. It wasn't me. It was a couple of Dementors. A couple of, what's this codswallop? Dementors, said Harry slowly and clearly. 2 of them. And what the ruddy hell are Dementors? They guard the wizard prison, Azkaban, said Petunia. 2 seconds of ringing silence followed these words before Petunia clapped her hand over her mouth as though she had let slip a disgusting swear word. Uncle Vernon was Googling at her. Harry's brain reeled. Mrs. Fig was one thing, but Aunt Petunia? How does Petunia know about this? Is it just because her sister is magical, or is there another reason that she knows about Dementors?
I feel like her family were all wizard and witches and she wanted out. Or she's a squib, like we mentioned before. We had discussions about this
Yeah.
in the past. Because it came so easily, but it's like she doesn't want to be a part of the world. So she just is in denial.
Is
and,
it possible
pretends.
she's not a squib though?
I thought that too. But how do you not use any magic?
I don't know.
Well, the 2 options are Lily's Muggleborn or she's a squib, right?
I don't know. He's saying there's a third option.
Well, I'm saying the third option is that the whole family is a family of wizards, and
I would
Lil-
make her a squib, though.
no, that she is also a wizard, but just doesn't use her powers.
Which?
Which, yeah. I don't think she is, but it's at least an option I'm mulling over.
Do you think
How do
that
you not
a
use your
wizard can
magic?
repress their powers? Like a wizard cannot act like a wizard.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know,
definitely.
but with emotions, I thought it comes out.
Yeah.
Like you can't control all your emotions.
Yeah, but if anyone could, I feel like Petunia.
It would be
Well,
Petunia.
she's blown up on some people, but she does repress a lot. Like even in this moment, this is like the first time we've seen her let it slip that like she knows stuff about the wizarding world. So she's good at holding in her emotions. maybe I'm picturing a Matrix red pill, blue pill moment. You know, like you finish up Hogwarts and they're like, take the blue pill. We'll do a little memory charm. You'll forget any of this ever happened. Boom. But I don't know. I'm just thinking back to the sister days, her and Lily, and when did she start to resent all the wizarding stuff? And like when Lily and James were dating or getting married, like, was she around? Was she the maid of honor? Do they even do that in England? Did she date Sirius at the same time? Did they all hang out together? She was like, that's the part of the dynamic I just don't understand. Like talking about wizarding things with muggles. It feels like Harry's going over the line with this. But the fact that Petunia already knows, I'm like, what can you do? Like, is it only squibs you're allowed to talk about this with? And Mrs. Fig, what's her story? Is she a squib, muggle? I don't know.
She said she's a squib.
She did say that, right? So her family, who is it? I don't know. So maybe that's why this would confirm Petunia is a squib. That's why they were allowed to talk about wizarding things. But Uncle Vern now and Dudley are really learning about wizarding stuff. Is that allowed? They're going to have to memory charm these guys?
Well, it seems like Vernon doesn't know at all that she knew anything about magic.
Right.
Petunia, right?
This seems like a surprise to all of them. Like Petunia just let it slip. Like she, but like you said, Kristen, this is like the most genuine conversation we've seen yet. It's actually like being honest. It's not pretty, but it's honest. They're just being like real about what's going on. And Harry's trying to just tell the truth. And it feels kind of healthy. Like it was satisfying in a weird way. Like, yeah, just get it all out there. If you're allowed to talk about it, talk about it. Get it out there. Let them know that Harry's a little bit afraid about what's going on in the world. Get it out there that Petunia knows more than we think she does. I don't know. Feels decent. But what's her deal?
Yeah. Do you think she went to Azkaban? No,
She's related to the Dementors.
Oh man,
she got her soul sucked out once. She's slowly regaining her soul back.
She got her wizard soul sucked out.
Yeah, there you go.
Her muggle soul is still there.
Got it replaced with a boring muggle soul. Man, I have so many questions about that, but what do you guys have any more sympathy toward the Dursleys in these moments? Like even when Vernon tells Harry to leave because he's not going to put his family at danger. Like, yeah, it's terrible because we're getting it from Harry's perspective. But do you guys have any more? Do you have, maybe just a question is more or less sympathy toward the Dursleys in this moment?
I had more sympathy towards them in this moment.
it started to grow.
Yeah.
I felt like for the first time, Vernon felt like an actual person to me.
Yeah.
After that conversation. So I can see where he's coming from. It sucks because Harry's still family technically, but I don't know. I guess a little bit.
Yeah.
My one thing too, though, was would the Dementors come into the house if they were inside?
Could they?
I don't know.
Dumbledore's little relation
I feel
protection.
like, right. So I'm like, would they not be able to see the house, or would they not be able to enter the house?
Oh, like a Fidelius on there? Maybe it's a little secret house. Could be. But Harry's getting a lot of advice to not leave the house. And that's why I was like yelling at Harry a little bit. He's like, his mind was racing. He could run for it. And I'm like, no, Arthur just said, don't leave. Also, I was examining Arthur's signature and I was just like, wait, how do we know this is really Arthur? Like, you could send a letter from anybody and you could just like write the person's name on the bottom. And I'm like, I can't trust anything from Owl Post. Because if it's just writing, anyone could write a letter and send an owl. And how does Harry know that it's from the person?
Boy.
They need a code. They need something.
It makes me laugh of like our ways of reading because I just trust everything.
Yeah. Very, very trusting.
You're
person
like
here.
both skeptical of every little detail. I'm like, oh, okay. That's good.
Just accept it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's the most.
Yeah. You're good though, too.
Well, especially now. There's
Yeah.
There's just so much going on. Even when you see someone face to face, I'm like, these people show up at the door. They ask Harry a question. Harry needs to turn right back around and be like, Moody question. You know,
Well, he has
Lupin
no questions
question.
to ask Moody.
Right. He literally doesn't even know Moody. But I don't know
that
what.
was a lame questioning anyway.
It was so lame.
It's not very thorough.
Because anyone would have known that. Any Dementor would have seen the Patronus and could have already told Voldemort, and Voldemort could have spread it around.
Yeah, and anyone that knew his dad could have just guessed.
You're right. It was just
that was
of
not
all the
thorough.
questions, that's the one. Decent,
And just one
but-
question.
Yeah, one. Yeah, checks out. He's good.
That's it.
Yeah, there needed to be some conversation with Lupin in that moment of solidifying their actual the real people, especially with apology stuff that just happened.
Right.
How Harry's not. I mean, he is completely scarred. He like doesn't trust Moody initially, but like he sees all these other people, and he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, Harry, dude. For a year, you were taught by someone who's under Polyjuice Potion and wasn't the right person. You should be skeptical of every single person in your life.
Yes.
Like, don't think this is Lupin. Think this is someone else. Yeah. That's why Harry's interesting in this book, because he has a lot of growing moments and a lot of immature moments. Like, in these chapters specifically, like, you can see how he's growing and like, okay, yeah, he has anger, but there's some kind of, at least like Danny, you were talking about, you wanted to have some kind of response to the Cedric thing. You wanted to affect him in some way. And I feel like it is to some extent here.
Yeah.
Like this is some kind of like maybe his anger still is lack of information for things. But I think a lot of his anger still stems from, I don't know if he would be quite as angry as if he didn't see Cedric die.
Yeah, you're right.
All this stuff didn't happen. I think his anger is like perpetuated because of that. So he's showing signs of maturity here, but still there's like, dude, learn from what happened the previous year.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that a ton. Does not do that much.
Harry asked himself a question after he got the letter from Mr. Weasley. He said, how much power did Dumbledore have to override the Ministry of Magic? And I feel like that's going to be a big question in the book as a whole. Like, Dumbledore versus the Ministry. What does that look like? He had power in this moment, but it's still so early. Like, he had enough power to say, let's not destroy Harry's wand. Let's wait. You know, let's not expel him yet. Let's just, in the hearing, we'll determine all of it. So that's great. Dumbledore still has some power, but that's something I'm asking. Like, how much power does he have really compared to the Ministry? And does Voldemort have more power over the Ministry? Seems like he at least does over Fudge. So
we're going to maybe like, so you're saying this book is going to be a power balance between who can control the Ministry, Dumbledore or Voldemort?
I think kind of, yeah. Although it seems to me like I almost already am viewing the Ministry as a Voldemort thing, because I don't think Fudge gets it. But there's still some hope that Fudge will get it and it'll click. And maybe that's why Voldemort is chilling right now, because right now it makes all of the good guys in our mind look a little crazy. People kind of don't believe them. They're like, he's not back. He's not. And they're like, Fudge, we even feel bad for him at the end of the last book. He's like, he can't be. He just can't be back. Because they just refuse to believe it. So maybe Voldemort is just playing the long game, trying to build up his power again. He doesn't want to get defeated for the third time by a kid.
Would it be the third? I think it might be the fourth. Baby Harry,
nice.
First book, second book.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
This is fifth time. This would be the fifth time. The graveyard, and now
Rough.
number 5. Harry's 4-0. We talked about a lot of these other questions. Why were there Dementors in Little Whinging? Does Harry have a right to be angry? What do you think of Aunt Petunia? Little whinging. Little winging. Might be winging. Winging. I don't know.
How'd you read it?
I read it like
I always read it
whinging
differently.
because like British people say whinge
Yeah.
to like whine or complain. But then it's a weird name for a place. Little whinging, little whining.
So the Dursleys do their complaining. I like it.
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
We even talked about Remember My Last, but do you guys have any other ideas or theories on Remember My Last from everything that we talked about?
No, but you know what is strange? The way Petunia says, I heard that awful boy, assuming she's talking about James, telling her about them years ago, Lily. So I read that as Petunia heard James telling Lily about Dementors. It could be other things, but it seems to be. And then later, Uncle Vernon in that same page is like, so they actually do exist, the Dementi Whatsies. And Petunia nods. And it just feels weird. she's confirming that they really exist based on something James Potter, the guy she hates, said to her sister years ago. I'm like, is that true? Or does she have some real experience with this? It feels like this might be more than just an overheard story between her sister, and this might be a personal experience. Because she doesn't have enough respect for James or Lily, according to
I feel
what
like
we've
there's
seen.
not, like for her to just say that she overheard a conversation and for her to trust that that's true,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the level of hatred that she holds toward this whole community, she wouldn't trust it, or she'd convince herself that it wasn't true. So the fact that she said that, I'm with you on that. I don't know.
So
If that all just made
that
sense.
is-
My mind
Yes.
is kind of going in circles right
So
now.
this horrible boy is James. Maybe that's another one of my questions.
That's how I interpreted it. But when I first read that awful boy, I thought she was talking about Harry. But then like telling her about them, I was like, telling her. Like it almost felt like she was remembering her childhood. And for James and Lily to be, I'm not picturing post Hogwarts. I'm picturing this is like while they're in school or something. But we don't know when James and Lily really met. But the fact that she called him a boy, even you said it the other day about like Hogwarts, the difference between a 4th year and a 7th year, that's like boy and man.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of ways. And maybe now that, I'm 30 looking back at high school, I'm like, high schoolers are not men. But like in comparison
Remember
though,
that
it does
when you
feel
talk
like
about Harry
it.
next time.
Yeah,
True. That's fair. That's fair. But like in history though, in a lot of points in history, by the time you're 15, like you're a man,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
better be like doing your own thing by that point. It's only more recently. So when she says that awful boy, I thought of it as James. Did you think of it as James?
I didn't think anything of I just heard it as
That awful boy.
But now that you're saying that, I'm like, I wonder if the Dementors did something to like Harry's James or Lily's parents. Maybe she was a witness as a kid to it.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Man, terrifying stuff.
I don't know why was the Dementor going to kiss Dudley though? I thought that you only kiss things that are like really evil. You could do it whenever you want.
Yeah, Dementors, they just go around trying to kiss people. Little pervs. It's, their orders specifically are to suck out the soul of, evil people. That's what the ministry wants them to do. But the ministry, the question that you're raising, I think is a really good one is, does the ministry even have control over Dementors anymore? Or if they still do have control? Because I think the one question is, why is there a Dementor in Little Lynching? Is this ministry sent out, or is this independent of the ministry and the Dementors are under the control of Voldemort now? So if it's, either one is a bad thing. If it's ministry sent out, that's really bad. If it's Voldemort sent out, it's really bad. But if it's ministry sent out and it's trying to kiss people, trying to make out with people, that's pretty terrible that the ministry has given these creatures free reign to do that. It has to be under their orders that's happening.
And a muggle at that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought was weird.
So strange.
I thought they would have left Dudley alone, and then both of them would have tried to attack Harry.
And
So
maybe,
that's why it's weird.
maybe they're sensing some real wickedness in Dudley. Maybe Dudley is going to be the real villain of this whole book.
Whoa.
Maybe.
And I don't know how wizard genetics work, but there is at least a chance that Dudley could be a wizard, because according to the idea that Lily is a wizard, there would be some wizard blood within Lily and Petunia's family. So it could have skipped Petunia and gone to Dudley.
That would be crazy.
But maybe squibs don't carry the wizard gene. I don't know.
That's very strange.
but
the bloodlines.
Because I go back and forth whether Lily was actually a wizard or not.
But they met at Hogwarts. I thought.
I know. I thought that too, but I didn't go back and read, so I don't remember like the specifics
You
of
did
it.
it? Isn't it in your notes?
Probably I should take the time to go back, but like
in your
Could there be
margins.
other reasons? I don't know. Because we're just getting so much more information. Like, let's say they met at Hogwarts, sure. But like, we're getting a lot more information about her being a muggle than we are about her being a wizard. So
Well,
it feels like they're
what,
like
though?
conflicting.
What
Well, Dumbledore or Voldemort said it. And I'll wait until we actually get to it here in these chapters. But it comes up again here.
I don't remember that.
Maybe we already passed it and I missed it. But even the fact that James is the one telling Lily about Dementors, why is he telling her? Wouldn't she know it the same as him if they're in the same class or both at school together or something?
Yeah, but he's like a boy that gets into things, and she's
He gets
probably
into
a
trouble.
rule follower.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, maybe he knew about it beforehand. Like
He was
first
exploring.
While
Here,
he's like making his
Azkaban.
maps and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
with
for
his
sure.
friends, and turning into an animagus,
He's trying to impress Lily.
With all his knowledge about
turning
Dementors.
into a
Maybe it's
he turned into a stag, right?
yeah.
That must have been a real turn on for Lily.
Oh my gosh.
You're so muscular and those antlers.
If it was a unicorn, Jen would be like, all right, now we're talking. All right, let's go to the chapter 3, the advanced card.
One more thing I was thinking is, isn't it a bit over the line to expel him and break the wand? Breaking the wand feels
Yeah.
not okay. Like,
So
they
what
shouldn't have
happens
the
when
power
you're
to do
expelled,
that.
though?
You're
Yeah,
one.
but why? Like, he
But
bought the
Hagrid
spell
has an umbrella
at Diagon Alley. He bought the wand separately. That is like he bought the firebolt. Do they take that away? Do they break that? His invisibility cloak. Is he no longer a wizard?
I think there's something in the wizarding world that you do not get your wand unless you're educated. I think that's why, like, education is so valued. Like, this is an even weird
Oh, that's
thing
so
too.
weird.
Voldemort loves education. He just wants purebloods to be educated, not anybody else. Like, his whole thing is to, like, he essentially wants to rework Hogwarts. Like, it's education reform. This whole book is about education reform. So like at Ilvermorny, students, when they go to Ilvermorny, the American Wizarding School, they get sorted and they go into a new room where they their wands pick them, and their wands stay at the school until they graduate, and then they are able to take their wands away. Hogwarts, it's a little different, but that's why they snapped Hagrid's wand in half.
Yeah, but then his umbrella.
Yeah, his umbrella. He like had the pieces, so you still have the pieces, but it's not like a fully powerful wand. But
Oh, is
I think
that
it's
what it was?
interesting.
Okay.
they only let, I mean, which is a smart thing. They only let educated wizards have their wands, I guess. I don't know if that's a smart thing or not.
No, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but maybe I just didn't put that all together because Harry was able to buy it as an 11-year-old,
Yeah.
like by himself. I don't even
Yeah.
think Hagrid was with him. So if he goes back, they break his wand and he goes back to Diagon Alley, would he be allowed to buy another wand? Or like we had kind of joked, the Weasleys are doing like hand-me-down wands or whatever. He could get another wand from
Yeah,
a cheap
probably.
wand Mazan and just like order one. But it just seems odd. Like, what else would he not be able to do? Let's say he got expelled and that was it. He never gets a wand. Could he go move to Africa and do some Wagadoo stuff? Would he be able to use his firebolt and fly around and be a wizard in all other respects? Could he go to a different school? These are all like things that I'm just like, breaking the wand feels weird.
It feels extreme for like the rest of your life.
Yeah, like that's it. He got expelled. He broke the rules. So the ministry says you're done. Would he have to run away to another country to get his education? It's strange that Uncle Vernon knew Lord Voldemort's name. I
Yeah,
was like,
right.
ooh, whoa.
And they say it with such
Doesn't
Nothing. Yeah, it
Yep,
doesn't
doesn't
faze
even
him.
phase him.
Didn't
Yeah.
you call it this Lord Voldy thing?
yeah.
He was making me laugh.
He was pretty funny in this chapter. Yeah. Yeah, he called them like
Dementoids or
It was
something?
loony. He said something. Yeah, Dementoids.
He was like naming
Altoids.
everything.
You said who's this loony as it talking about Voldemort.
Oh yeah.
There is like an innocence to them that they don't quite understand things, which is like actually almost a breath of fresh air because the whole wizarding world is so fearful of this. He's not, because he doesn't care about this. He doesn't know about it. He hates the wizarding world so much.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I like the pictures.
Chapter 3, the advance card. Summary of this chapter.
Oh. I didn't write one.
Yeah, me either.
Oh no.
But this
Jen.
was basically just the trip
Yeah.
from
Did you want to do one?
Privet Drive
You sure?
over to the Order of the Phoenix office. I don't know what to call it yet. We didn't go inside, but I think of it like just like an office
We'll
building.
call
or
it
something.
headquarters. That's what they say at the
Headquarters,
very
nice.
end of the chapter. Headquarters of the Order of the Phoenix is.
And we learned so many other characters.
Anybody know the the address for the Order of the Phoenix?
12. Started with
Ooh,
G.
yeah.
Yeah.
Criminal.
Close. Grimald
Yeah.
Place.
Grimald Place.
Yeah, London.
Is it a real place?
No. Actually, hold on.
I was like, don't look at me. I don't know.
Because we would have to add it to our list. I didn't want to
boy, this
Google that
list is
one.
like-
But yeah, the list is growing, but at least we've got 2 stops in London.
Yeah, except next week I
still
should
have to
be at
get my
Universal Studios at Hogwarts.
that was last week.
No, the 9th.
The 9th.
Oh,
that's-
you mean like
that's coming.
until? Oh, okay. I
We'll
had it in
get
my-
there. Then
We
we'll go to
would- we
London.
should have been
yes,
leaving
you're
this
right,
weekend.
You're right.
No, I know,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
This place, it was the actual filming was in Claremont Square, so we'll have to go there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you're right. Oh, yeah, because we could go to the place as written in the book, but the movie filming locations
Yeah.
are pretty epic too.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about this. Yeah, good summary. This is kind of where they meet people. This is where we meet my new crush, Tonks.
I love
You
her.
like purple
Tonks
hair
is the
now?
best. I love Tonks so much. One of my favorites.
We just started to get to know her.
Yeah, yeah.
She's kind of fun.
Yeah, she's clumsy, but she's
I
She's-
can relate.
she's the youngest Auror at the moment. Just passed her Auror test. Is the youngest one.
And she's a morphomag. What
Yeah,
is she?
Metamorphomagus.
Metamorph.
Yeah, Metamorphomagus.
That's
Nice,
so
Jen.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
We're gonna talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
So this is what we have. This is a line that we get. So it went on for 3 whole days. Harry was alternatively filled with restless energy that made him unable to settle anything, during which time he paced the bedroom, furious at the whole lot of them for leaving him to stew in this mess. And with a lethargy so complete that he could lie in his bed for an hour at a time, staring dazedly into space, aching with dread at the thought of the ministry hearing. Man, what do you think of Harry in this moment in this chapter? Has he grown over these last 3 chapters? You said at the beginning, Danny, that he's devolving. He's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, it felt like it. And it felt like it maybe even here too. Like this felt like depression to me. This was like, I don't know. He kind of just reached a new low where it felt like he wasn't even resisting anymore. Like he was so antsy at the beginning. He was listening for news of Voldemort. This felt like he was just like, I'm just going to stay in my room and whatever. I don't care. And even when Uncle Vernon said, we're leaving you and you're going to be here alone, like don't leave. He's like, whatever. Okay. Like he didn't fight back. He lost his spark.
Yeah, that's a good way. He like lost his spark.
So yeah, I feel like they broke him a little bit. And this is where he's just like, I don't know if we were relating it to grief. I don't know, but it feels like there's a certain level of acceptance. It maybe not with Cedric grief, but with grief of him being out of the loop. There was a lot of anger about that, and now he's like, "Fine, I'm out of the loop. So be it. I'll accept this, and this is where I'll sit."
What do you guys think of all these people that come to him? What do you think of Tonks? What do you think of, Lupin, Moody, Kingsley Shacklebolt?
I liked it, but it was hard. Maybe I'm more visual. Like it was a blur. I'm like, I don't know. Who are these people? Is Tonks the one with the hair changing?
Yeah, Tonks is the Metamorphomagus.
So that was the only person, but even the name, I didn't really register it. But then the other guy, Kingsley, cool name. So I remember him, but they haven't done enough that it's hard to like imagine
Tonks,
them so far.
Had a presence for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonks is the real
But her real name was something weird that she hated.
Nymphadora.
Nymphadora.
great
Tonks.
name. I
That
love
is a
it.
good name. Yeah.
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 Nymphadora Tonks.
I just love that she just like could concentrate and like change her look,
Yeah.
her appearance,
Oh,
her
I
hair
wish.
color. That's so nice.
Turn red.
Purple's not really my color. Then I went to pink, right? Her
Yeah,
hair.
she was looking in the mirror when Harry was like shoving like.
And then she
his
just
trunk full
like,
of stuff.
I know, I love that. I was like, I wish there was something. You
I
just
know,
snap
right?
your fingers and your room's organized,
Paco.
clean,
Sounds
packed.
Paco.
How great would that be? Like, you don't have to have
so
to pack
great.
again. You can just wave a wand and everything's packed.
And then
for
I
you.
loved
Oh my
how she
gosh.
went into detail. Like, I can't really pack folded like my
Yeah.
mom, but it's all in there.
That's so great. How old do you view her to be?
Mid-20s,
Yeah, I feel like that's about right.
early to mid. Because she probably is just out of school.
Yeah.
Or
Well-
she went to college. Or no. Like, did they go to...
It doesn't seem like.
Yeah.
Well, she does have to take all the tests
Well, because to be
And study.
an
to be
aura?
an aura. I pictured her like 21 by the end of the chapter, but when she was first introduced before we knew about her, I pictured her older. Maybe
like
I was just
40.
picturing her as the mom in Sweet Life of Zach and Cody with like the short hair for whatever reason. And so I guess I just pictured her as
very
being
specific.
30, 35. Yeah, like sometimes I just read something
she
like,
had
that's who this
spiky
person
hair?
is. I don't know why. Because she
Oh,
had
like
spiky
Google
hair.
her.
Yes, sometimes.
How old is wait, give me an age. Like, how old is Moody in your head?
I think of him as being 40 or 50.
Yeah. Maybe even a little older because he's retired.
Oh, yeah.
He was
nice.
around during the hearing, so he had to be somewhat
Oh,
older.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
So maybe like really late 40s, maybe even late 50s, early 60s or something like that. How old is Lupin?
I think of
Gosh.
them as all being younger just because we kind of know
Yeah.
this is kind of her, right?
Is that
With the
Tonks?
spiky
Oh,
hair.
No,
see.
this is... Actually, you're right.
I'll show you. They have an illustrated version of her.
Oh, yeah. But we know that Lupin is the same age as James and Lily. So we kind of can guess
We were
that
supposed
by
to be
now
in
they're
there
35.
30.
Right? Wouldn't that be 35?
Look at this firecracker right here.
I can't see that.
Oh, look at her. You're nightly.
She kind of does.
He's right there.
And Harry's like hiding underwear behind him. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
You guys got to get the illustrated
Illustrated.
version if you guys are watching the live stream. It's the best.
That is pretty neat.
And I pictured Kingsley as being much older. Because I think they said he was old at some point,
Yeah.
or like mature. I forget what they
silver
said.
hair or something. Who's the
Maybe
one that
that's
had the
why.
silver-
Oh no, Moody. Moody has long gray hair, which maybe they didn't mention that in the last book.
Really?
Yeah.
But yeah, it said Moody did, and so I was
that
like,
in this
oh,
one?
weird, because in the movie he didn't really, and I didn't picture him quite like that. But now I'm starting to picture him that way.
Yeah.
The book version of Moody.
Good. Yeah. You got to have these pictures of the book versions in your head rather than the
Yeah.
movies. Sometimes the movies get it a little bit wrong.
And that's why it's nice to do it this way, where we're reading before watching, forming our own things. I wanted to go back and watch the movie again because I was like taking notes and missing things. I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'll wait till the very end once all the books are done. Maybe then I'll binge all the movies.
Yeah.
Before we go to Hogwarts.
But I just don't want them
Yes.
interfering with my images of things.
Do you think that Moody is serious about dying, trying to fly Harry to safety? He's serious about it, but like, is this a serious thing? Or is he just overreacting because he's Mad-Eye Moody?
I kind of think it is a serious thing, yeah. He might be taking it the most seriously. Other people don't seem as worried. But yeah, I got the impression it was actually a bit of a life or death thing. Wait, is Kingsley the bald black wizard with the gold hoop in his ear?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Who's the other
Yeah,
one
I
that
like
had gray hair? I thought that was silvery hair. Not
It-
Moody. Someone
There's
else.
a weird description of Kingsley that like his ears shone in the moonlight and it was like silvery, I think, or like
Oh,
white.
mate, is
Some
that
weird
what I
description. I don't know
think?
why it even described it like that, but I remember. I think you're
So
kind of
he's
right about
kinda
that.
like an elf.
On 47, it says Mad-Eye Moody, who had long, grizzled gray hair.
Maybe.
That could be a little bit.
And then his
but-
eye keeps sticking now since that.
that was just such a
Crouch
funny thing,
Junior's
too. Like, they're
chicken-
talking about, like,
So weird.
getting his water out.
But then it works. Like
Yeah.
it worked for Crouch Junior. That's so weird.
I know. It's so creepy. So creepy.
And then Lupin looked pretty bad. Like he looked even worse than before, and I
More
felt bad
patched
for
and
him.
shabbier than ever.
I'm like, he doesn't have a job probably because no one's
Yeah.
gonna hire him now.
Yeah.
It could be his time of the month though.
That's what I was thinking. Oh my
So they just caught him on a bad day.
I just released a short the other day about the question was, why is Snape so grumpy and angry? And you guys laugh and you go, oh, because he's PMSing. And Danny goes, you never know what might happen in the wizarding world because you're like, guys don't PMS for this. Snape, maybe. But maybe Lupin. He's on his cycle of the month. Werewolf style. Yeah, maybe he doesn't have a job. Do you think he has anyone to love? Do you think he has like someone at home? He's like,
I hope so.
yeah,
Yeah.
I liked him a lot
yeah.
as a professor.
Do you think do you think Tonks has anyone? Do you think Kingsley has anyone?
Has anyone?
I hope they all have someone.
Mad-Eye Moody.
Well,
Moody is a tough one.
Wow.
maybe. I don't know who that
I wonder if they could
Is there
be.
someone here that we know that we could pair him with?
I'm trying to picture if we would have met their significant others yet.
I feel like a Moody
Or their
Trelawney
kids at school.
match would be decent.
Whoa, that would be
It'd
interesting.
be weird to be
about
like,
Fig and
ooh,
the neighbor, right? The squid.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And Mad Eye Moody. She would be funny, bossing him around.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. Trelawney could be like the surveillance system though. She'd be like, I see.
I feel like there would
People
be a
outside
really
our door.
interesting match. I would love to see that actually.
Didn't we pair with someone else though? We did.
Her?
Trelawney?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
I feel like we did, but I don't remember.
Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Oh, did we?
I think I did.
Yeah, that does sound familiar. That's a funny one. Oh goodness.
Do you actually think that Harry's in dire danger here?
Yeah, the Dementors came.
Yeah. And everyone's telling him not to leave the house.
Yeah.
And they're timing it to fly.
Yeah.
And then all I could think of is how cold he must have been
Oh my
flying.
gosh.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Miserable.
Oh
Yeah.
my, I no.
Anything but that, please.
Oh gosh. I'm just thinking of like the coldest day ever.
Why couldn't they conjure up like a heated
Yeah.
blanket?
I know, right?
But it's also like August.
Yeah.
Like, can't you just like fly a little lower then? You don't have to be up in the stratosphere. Just like chill. But maybe they
Mad
really
Eye
don't want to be
Moody said
spotted.
that.
Yeah, they're
We're
like,
too
let's
low. We
go
have
through
to
the
go up
clouds. Let's keep
higher.
going up.
Yeah. And they started descending on the largest string of lights. And Harry just sees it as like a collection of lights, and it's literally London.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
they must have been so high. Like
that
flying
part
at
that doesn't-
747 levels.
I'm like, how far are they from London? They
Yeah.
they were able to go up like that
Yeah.
and down like, and also it was talking about them going west. So they must have been just doing those loops. Like one of them mentioned, like stop doubling back. It's fine. Nobody's
Yeah.
tracking us.
I would like really not have anyone find where they're located.
Well, I don't know where Privet Drive is. Maybe I was just picturing it somewhere it isn't. But they can get into London pretty easily to take the train when they go to Hogwarts. So I just didn't think of them as being that far from London, but I guess so.
I like how he borrowed the light outer or whatever it's
Oh,
called.
the put outer, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's only
great.
one, and Dumbledore.
Yeah,
has it.
right.
I like that idea of like there's exclusive things in this universe. Like there's a one-off of this thing. No one else has this.
It stinks that invisibility cloaks aren't that because we just saw our third one. And Mundungus is using it for evil.
Yeah, I know.
or stealing, we don't say
He's got to make
evil
money
people.
somehow. He's like
Right.
chilling doing a night watch. Like got to make some kind of money.
Of all the things, why is a put outer?
Like the exclusive thing. Yeah.
Do you think that there's anything deeper with the put out, or do you think there's like some kind of? Does it just put lights out? Can it like
Put
put
out.
this put the soul back in you if a Dementor sucked you out or something like that?
I hope it has a multi.
It does seem to
purpose.
hold the lights in.
I wonder if they had that when the Dementors were there. Know how everything went out. If they had that, would they be able to turn everything back on? Because like there were no stars or anything, which that was so weird. I couldn't understand that. Like when the Dementors
Yeah, you're
were
right.
present,
That was strange.
everything went black. They said they couldn't even see. So like, what was that?
That was a next level Dementor move. We haven't seen them do that yet. It feels lame that they seem. I can't tell what rules are worth following and what rules are worth breaking. And the Ministry has rules about apparating, but I feel like Harry should be taught this already. Weren't we learning with the Weasleys when they were like practicing for their test and apparating, and maybe Percy was talking about it? It can be learned, like driving, like you're not allowed to drive till whatever age, depending on your state, but you could learn in a parking lot with your parents. Can they do that with apparition? I feel like Harry should be one of the people they make an exception for when the Dark Lord is looking for him.
I thought there was a bad thing. What they talked about, like if you don't apparate correctly, half your body is somewhere.
And so I get why they wouldn't want to do it, but this is a perfect example of why he should know. Because then in this moment, they could have done that instead of flying up in the sky where someone could spot them. But teach Harry so that in these moments, he can just get around. He can go straight to Dumbledore's office, talk to him about things, straight to the Order of the Phoenix headquarters. I guess it just feels like an odd rule to be like, no, we don't want to break the rules. Like,
how they have the pensive thing where you put your things? I keep thinking that there should be something where like you have a thought and you want to send it to someone, you just like fling it.
Yeah, seriously.
That would be really cool.
Well, it's kind of like what Dumbledore did with his, like he sent was it a moth or a butterfly or something? Or a bird?
It was a bird.
I'm thinking of Gandalf in Lord of the Rings,
exactly.
where he whispers to the moth and he goes to get the eagles. But that's what I thought of. I literally thought of that when Dumbledore did it when they arrive at Crouch and he's like knocked out, or Crumb is knocked out.
He sends out a phoenix from his wand.
A phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
It was a bird. It was like a silvery bird. And we later learned that it was a phoenix.
We learned it later because maybe when I originally read it, I thought of it as like a small bird. The Gandalf moment. But again, like if Harry could learn to do these things, he could send his messages. He's waiting for Hedwig to send the messages to everyone and come back, and he still didn't get Hedwig back yet. So they just got to teach Harry some inside tricks. He still feels so in the dark.
So, I mean, apparition is a Ministry controlled thing. It's like a driver's ed. I guess it's like you can learn it from anybody. Like, I know there are people like you were driving before you had your driver's license. There's a few other people in our grade who were like not driving on the road, but like you knew how to drive, but you couldn't drive anywhere on the road without a driver's license. So it's 5th year is when you learn to apparate. So we might get some apparating lessons or something like that in this. Because that's when Fred and George learned. That's when Percy learned. It was all in 5th year. So that's when you start to learn. So we'll see if Harry will actually learn this, but they couldn't teach it because it's Ministry regulated, and the Ministry is just incompetent and miserable right now. So even if they wanted to teach it to him, they couldn't.
Because it's regulated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, maybe they would be able to teach it, but I think it's like, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know.
An unauthorized port key. I thought that was also interesting. So the Ministry is just, they're controlling everything.
Yeah.
It's strange. We're learning more and more how much the Ministry runs the show.
Yeah.
Flu Network, apparition
really
license, or apparition or whatever.
Of what they Dumbledore's like thoughts, or what am I trying to say?
So we'll see who. I mean, you mentioned that this is going to be a book kind of about the Ministry, so we'll see if the Ministry is going to be really good or really bad. We'll see. Maybe you guys are going to hate Fudge more than you hate anybody else in this book. We'll see.
So far.
Man, so many things, but let's go through some of the chapters. You guys have anything else in this specific chapter?
Trying to read my small writing in the margins here.
So you know what the Order of the Phoenix is.
So I was kind of close.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
You were pretty. Yeah, you nailed it.
I just want to hear it to say that I'm right.
You were.
You are the best, Jen.
Perfect.
How did you do it?
No, I want it from John, the host, not you.
And you're wearing your Kingsley Shacklebolt earrings right now. Your gold hoops.
Ooh, nice.
Perfect.
Indeed.
Wow.
Jen, you're right about everything in this book.
Yay.
Nailed it.
I should have been a detective.
An Auror. Wow, you'd be a great Auror.
If that was real.
the metamorph magus. That's going to be a weird one to say. I'm curious the extent to which they can change their appearance and how much effort it takes. Because in theory, if you could change your appearance, can you be an object? Can you be an animal? Is this like an animagus, but even better?
Sounds like it to me. But
It sounded like I was getting mixed messages about whether you had to be born with it or you have to learn the hard way. I'm like, so you don't really have to be born with it if you could learn the hard way. But what's the
said
hard
You have to
way?
be born with it.
Yeah,
I
you
thought
had to
you
be
had
born.
to be
The
born
hard
with
way is that you transfigure things.
Because she says, well, you'll have to learn the hard way, I'm afraid. They're really rare. They're born, not made. Okay, so learning the hard
so they
way
have-
just means transformation,
Yeah,
not
transfiguring or
yeah.
animagus.
Okay, gotcha. So
Like
that's the hard way.
McGonagall?
You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
become
That is,
one.
I mean, I talked to you guys about what it takes to become an animagus. That's the
Yeah.
hard way. It's like
yeah, you're right.
insanely difficult.
unless you have a time turner.
Yeah, unless you have a time turner, which is a great theory. Maybe we'll see time turners come back up in this book or some more policy
That's so
discussion.
weird
We'll
though.
see.
So that's like a type of breed of or bloodline in a wizard and witch.
Yeah.
Like
So I guess there's like
Meta.
subsets of things that wizards can be or do. There's some metamorph magi. If you guys could change one thing, being a metamorph magi, what would you do?
about my appearance.
Change your hair color.
I'd be able to keep my hair red. Like that. That'd be,
That'd be
really
great.
nice.
What have you done?
I'm probably going black blonde. Back blonde. Soon. So yeah, I would go red.
Hair would be nice. You don't have to do it.
Yeah, it's so yeah.
Yeah.
Always be done.
Just in the morning. you're like,
Trim, cut,
Right?
curled.
Save
Oh,
me
God.
change my hair. Remember we did that first
Yeah,
podcast?
right.
He's,
Yeah,
he's
that's
throwing
where
his hair out.
Carly, our listener, was dying laughing at you changing your hair.
That's what she's
Somebody's
doing in front of the
pooping out
mirror
hair.
whenever she changes any of her appearance. She's going, and your nose like sucks in or something. I don't know.
I feel like it would be useful.
Maybe you can make yourself look younger.
Yeah, like I literally was thinking, you wake up with tired eyes, you're just like, boom, now I'm awake and looking fresh.
You ever seen you guys have seen Tangled, right?
Yeah, I
Disney?
love
When
Tangled.
she's like brushing the hair and Rapunzel's singing the song fast and she like touches it and automatically she's like poof, like she's young again.
Yeah, that's like what it'd be instantly. Also, then if you had to run, you could just make your legs a little bit longer.
Yeah.
If you had to swim, you could just widen your feet, give yourself some
Some flippers.
some flippers. So I feel like things like that could be useful.
Yeah, it'd be kind of nice.
Can you fly?
Well, I guess could you turn your arms
Grow
into
some
really
wings.
big flat things? Give yourself feathers. Ugh, I'm picturing just like skin wings of flapping around. Yeah, but again, we don't know the extent
no,
that you
that
can
just
actually
grossed me out.
change. And could you become a thing? Like we've seen people become animals and whatever, but can the metamorphomagus, can they become objects? Can they go to that extent? Can they shrink themselves down or make themselves huge?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yep.
That'd be really handy for certain instances.
And like, if you could make yourself bigger, could you be the size of a giant? You know, and that could be useful.
Would
Madame
shrunk Harry down,
Maxine.
put him in the pocket.
Pocket.
Throw 'em away.
Transporting.
Yeah. At the end of this chapter, it said the narrow handwriting was vaguely familiar, and I just wrote who wrote it? Question mark. Vaguely familiar.
Wait, what was this again? You said?
Oh, at the very end, it's the headquarters to the Order of the Phoenix may be found at number 12 Grimald Place, London. So it's like the address. It's like a secret thing, you know. I think it said it would disappear in a little bit. So it's like a Mission Impossible thing where this message will self-destruct in however many seconds. That's the vibe I got. But it was vaguely familiar, and I just couldn't tell how familiar. Is this someone's writing he doesn't see that often, but he's maybe seen Dumbledore's, whatever. Has he ever seen his own father's writing? Again, I'm just trying to get clues to who started this whole Order of the Phoenix thing. So I'm curious why it's vaguely familiar.
Who do you think wrote it?
I think he knows Sirius's writing. He would know Ron. He would know Hermione. I think he would even know the Weasleys, Mr. Weasley at
What
least. He
about
just got a letter.
Dumbledore?
Maybe. Dumbledore's writing, has he seen it?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like he probably would have, but that's why it would be vaguely familiar.
Also, a quick correction. They learn apparition in 6th year, not 5th year.
Okay.
Thank you. Michael.
Yeah, Michael.
Nice. Keep John in check.
I know.
Well, that's why it's so great.
I know.
We got the worldwide
I know.
crew. They're from all over the place, and they're like legit fans.
Our fans are doing it's 35 kilometers from Surrey to central London, according to a quick Google search.
Oh yeah. Wait, so
Good thing
Surrey,
we
that's
saw
where
they're in
Privet
Surrey,
Drive is. Surrey. Okay. 35 minutes doing it by flight.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, let's do a wrap up. What's your favorite moment in these chapters, and who wins the house cup? Who's your favorite character?
I really liked when he conjured up his Patronus again and then sent it like, come on this way, over there. And I'm just picturing it like listening to everything Harry is like asking it to do.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was a neat visual.
He's shown more control over it, at least in this moment. Like,
Yeah.
Patronuses haven't seemed like that you can control them too much, but in this moment, he's like, go over there, go. It's like a little dog.
I know, I was picturing that, like very obedient.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good moment. What about you guys?
I think for me, it was probably when everyone arrived to get him out of there. It just felt like such a relief.
Yeah.
I'm like, good answers. Get us out of here. Because I was starting to feel the weight that Harry was feeling, the weight from waiting. So yeah, I think that was a cool moment. It was just exciting, and the mood changed when Moody starts talking about death and people getting killed. But for like those moments of like packing up, getting out of there, that was like a good moment. But I don't know who gets the house cup. I kind of want to give it to Mrs. Fig.
I was going to give it to Mrs.
Yeah, let's go.
She's being so responsible.
Yeah,
I
she's
feel like
great.
she's been waiting for, now, however many years, 15 years.
Yeah.
She finally gets her chance to like talk to Harry
Yeah.
for real. And she feels responsible. I trust Mrs. Fig quite a bit, more than Mundungus.
Yes, clearly.
And she didn't actually maybe do too much, but like she just felt in control. I was like, oh man, she's doing it. And she's been so patient. And she could have protected Harry in ways that we don't even know yet. So
Yeah, for sure. She's great in this. I would give it to Tonks.
nice.
I think she's just great in these chapters too. Like she doesn't have a ton of moments in this chapter, but even just like she's a relatable. I think
right.
Harry is looking at her being like, oh, this is gonna be like I could do this in 10 years. This is what's gonna be me. I'm gonna be really unorganized, really messy.
His career path.
Kristen.
Is Kristen thinking about other things?
No.
Language that I just used. I think he sees this and he's like, I could become this. I think it's a relatable. It's not like Lupin. It's not like he's a teacher. It's not like someone way outside of his age gap that he's met. It's more like a Bill or Charlie. Like these people that are like just outside of school who are like doing stuff in the wizarding world. I just really like her for that.
Yeah, she felt comfortable.
Yeah, she's just
like,
yeah.
I want to say normal, even though she's not normal, but
She's just
it was a sense of normalcy for
cool.
him. Oh man.
What was your favorite moment though, Kristen?
I was trying to figure. I did like when Harry switched to save Dudley because I felt like that spoke highly of his character.
Yeah.
To me, that showed maturity.
Yeah, you're right.
But I also did like the dynamic between Mrs. Fig and Mundungus. I thought that was like a little bit of comic relief. Like the sup, Figgy.
Yeah.
And she was like, I hope Dumbledore murders him. It was just funny to me. Like she was dead serious, but to me that was comic relief.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Two very different
She is great in these chapters.
places. But
Someone said favorite moment in these chapters is imagining Vernon and Petunia's face upon arrival to wherever they were going for the London's best lawn competition.
oh my God. Oh, I forgot about that.
So
They go there and they
good.
realize it's nothing.
That was
Seeing
my
their
doing.
faces.
Was that Tonks?
That was
I
Tonks,
think that was
right?
Tonks, yeah.
yeah. That's pretty
Very
great.
clever.
That's also another accolade on Tonks. I think that's one of my favorites. One of my favorites is probably I love the image where Petunia goes, they guard the wizard prison. Complete silence, and then she just goes like she just said a bad word. I love that moment so much. And then it just gives like backstory. Like you're like, why does she know this? And something so small, J.K. Rowling makes like so many things pop up in your head of like, why would she know this? There's so many theories that can pop out of just something so simple like that. So I love that. And then I'm giving Tonks the House Cup award for this one. Who's a House Cup for you, Jen?
Probably Tonks too. I liked her a lot.
2v2. Although Mrs. Fig is great. So
I know. I want you to hear her voice.
Yeah.
Really?
And the audiobook, the way he did it was so good.
Anyway, this is the Order of the Phoenix, so we're pretty excited about this. We're gonna just keep going. I'm very, very excited about the Order of the Phoenix. But thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. So good.
Enough owls. Yeah, that was funny.
I like he's like hooting about owls. Yeah.
Owls. And I like that he said something effing.
Yeah.
So I was just like, Uncle Vern.
Enough
That's
effing
so
owls, or
great.
something like that. That was so good.